stream. For everybody
Wow, how interesting.
tuning in on YouTube, welcome in. We're going to go ahead and hop straight into the debates with the Trump supporters for the day. In fact, we already have our first Trump supporter, Mr. Jaden, up in the live as we speak. Jaden, you said that you're 20 years old and you voted for Trump. Same age as me. That's wild. But go ahead and take it away, man. Tell us why you voted for him.
Because you like killing babies.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, so fetuses are babies?
Depends how your definition is.
Well, talking about your definition, so you think they're babies, right?
Okay, so it would be a preliminary definition to where I would be associating a fetus with a human life, not necessarily a baby. Sorry,
Okay,
I just had to act like a.
So then what do you
I
mean
just had
by,
to act
so then
really,
what-
really dumb
so
so
what do
that
you-
you would leave me on the live.
So then what do you
'cause
mean by
usually you don't
killing
leave first one.
babies?
Yeah, so no, to make an actual argument, human life begins at fertilization,
Are you
and you
Levi?
should not terminate human life. Yes, I am, and you're afraid to debate me, Dean. Come on, let's run it.
Why do you think I'm afraid to debate you? Why do people think that? Just give me a minute, Levi. I want to.
Okay, first of all,
sit
I'm
on
not
my.
saying you're
No,
afraid,
I'm
but
gonna.
you did call me
I'm gonna go
annoying.
ahead and mute you because you interrupted me. I'm gonna go ahead and sit on my soapbox for a minute. When I have like thousands and thousands and thousands of people in my stream, and then
There was
somebody will
10.
be like, "You're afraid to debate me." I never understand it. And you are on the
I can make it
stream.
clear.
Hey Levi, if you interrupt me, I'm going to put you on mute again. And it's honestly just
Go ahead.
not. It's gonna make my day bad. Could you do without the interruptions?
Yes, I don't want to make your day bad, Dean.
Okay. I'm being serious. If you interrupt me, I'll have to mute you. I literally hate doing that so much.
Fair enough.
Very good, Jaden. Okay. Moving back to what I was saying. I just don't get it when people say that I'm afraid to debate them, but then there's like 80 other people in the queue, thousands of people in the stream. It doesn't make much sense. Not to mention, you were up here on my stream, and then it got banned. I got a ban for harassment and bullying on TikTok. I get them every single day, and then when you came back, you were like, oh, Dean ended the lives to run away from me. Like, everything's about you. But we could actually pick up our debate where we left off before the ban. You basically...
Hold up. You just made a statement. I have to respond to it. So
Okay.
the reason why I do that is because you don't really let people up on there unless they're crap talking you, which is very, very interesting. But it's fine. We can go on with the debate. I want to be polite. Please be polite back. We won't interrupt each other. Let's have a fruitful debate.
If I only let people up on the stream that crap talk me, how come 70% of my guests are liberals that are fans?
You good point.
Thank you. Now, we're going to go ahead and just continue the conversation that we had beforehand. You had told me that abortion bad, and then I was like, well, less innocent babies will die if Kamala Harris was elected compared to Trump because he supports state-funded IVF, and IVF includes the unfortunate deaths of millions of zygotes and embryos per year. And then you were like, well, I'm okay with that because I hold to a principle that the intention of IVF is to further our species, so therefore these
Sustenance
human
of your
rights violations
population.
don't matter. So some very bad millions of human rights violations
That's
are
just not what I
okay
said.
as soon as they aid into bed and sustaining our population.
That's just not what I said. Okay, so the principle that I made was sustenance of your population. Hold by that. And then the second thing is, it's not going to be very hard for me to dismantle this unless, of course, you have a preliminary definition for abortion. Do you, or are you abiding by the definition that we already have?
So, I mean, for our intents and purposes in our conversation, I don't understand why defining abortion is important because we're more so just talking about
What?
yeah, because we're just referencing like the elective lethal abortion in the sense of determining if the death of a fetus, if the death of a zygote is morally wrong or not morally wrong.
Yeah, sure. So let's be clear, though. The definition of abortion is the deliberate termination or the willful intention to terminate a human life. Now, to be clear, if you were to have a
Okay, I
pizza
don't-
and somebody were to take the pizza out as you were cooking it, and somebody were to make another pizza where you mess up and it's not fully cooked, which person actually eliminated making a correct pizza?
Can you say that one more time?
Yes, I'll be very, very clear. So if you're making a pizza, you throw a raw pizza, like raw dough, everything in the oven, and somebody just rips out the pizza. And then you have a second hypothetical where somebody is trying to make pizzas, let's say 50, and then 25 of those pizzas come out completely raw and he didn't cook them correctly. Which person actually incorrectly terminated the pizza? Willfully terminated the pizza, because we're abiding by definitions unless, of course, you have a different definition.
Okay, so I'm using like 100% of my brain capacity here.
Sure.
The person that intentionally and willfully terminated the pizza would be the first person that intentionally and willfully pulled it out of the oven early.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the same reason, if you were to have a IVF, which is what you're referring to, which I do thank you for not saying IUDs, because I think IVF is a better argument anyway, then the people that are trying to make said pizza or make said human being is not in the fault here because there was no deliberation. Do you understand?
So I never delineated fault for the deaths of the zygotes caused as a consequence of IVF. I'm
So
more
it's a
so just denoting the
preliminary.
fact. Would you allow me to finish?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm more so just denoting the fact that there's millions of these innocent babies, these zygotes, that die every single year as an unfortunate consequence of IVF. And when you
True.
tell me that you voted for Donald Trump to reduce overall human rights violations, well, even though we cannot fault IVF clinics or practitioners for the
Thank
violation
you.
of zygotes' right to life, that human rights violations has still occurred nonetheless as these innocent babies are dying, right? And
Yeah,
just
no,
to
I
kind of
said
go back,
sustenance of your population.
and then that's
That
where
was
you
the principle
posited
that
the
I was abiding
principle
by.
of sustenance of population. And I want to
Thank you.
understand this principle a little bit better. So when you tell me that you can overlook these millions of human rights violations every single year because all these innocent babies are dying, these zygotes, because of the principle of sustenance of population, are you telling me that you're okay with the millions of zygotes that die because it aids and abets in furthering the livelihood of our populace?
Can you state that one more time?
You're just okay with the fact that there's millions of human rights violations every year because of IVF as it furthers the success of our population.
No, it would be in counteracting with the trying to make natural what is not natural. So most women are able to have babies. For the women that are not able to have babies, which is not natural, but it appears in nature, then we are trying to counteract that with something that is. But it's
Okay,
using
so
it in an artificial way.
Levi, you just said words. Okay, but
All right, do you want me to
I
make
do
it
want to
clear?
point out
It's not going
that
to be hard.
Levi, one moment, we agreed that we wouldn't
Well,
interrupt
you
one
don't
another.
understand.
I would like to finish speaking.
Go ahead.
Levi, you just said words, so good job. But the words that you said didn't make any sense to anyone.
Then I can be clear.
So
It's not going to be hard.
before you give me a clear answer, I'll go ahead and repeat the question to make sure we're on the same page.
Thank you.
So to rehash how we got here, I said, well, if you vote for Trump, there's significantly more innocent children that are dying because he wants state-funded IVF, which kills millions of innocent baby zygotes every single year, which you think is a human rights violation. Then you're telling me that although I'm right,
Didn't even say
there
that. Didn't even
is
say that.
millions of these human rights violations, you don't mind because of the quote-unquote principle of sustenance of our population. So does this principle essentially mean that you're okay with all of these millions of human rights violations because it aids and abets in furthering the success of our species?
You were very, very close with your steel man, but you straw manned it, unfortunately, because what I made clear from the beginning of this was it would be the deliberate termination of a human life. And then you just skipped over the deliberate part and you tried to give like some analogy for why that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is that it would be abortion is the incorrect action when going about this. And the reason being is for sustenance of your population, not the elimination of human life deliberately, or not the elimination of human life technically.
Okay.
But if you were to have it deliberately, then
So
that would make the difference. Like, can you please steelman that? Like, what are you missing?
So what I'm missing is a response to my argument. Because in
Which
my
is not what I said.
counter-response to the view that if you vote for Trump compared to Kamala Harris, you'll have less human rights violations, this has nothing to do with the intentional human rights violation or deliberate human rights violation. And it's just simply the fact that if Kamala Harris was president compared to Trump, there would be less human rights violations in America. Do you contest that?
It's false.
That
It's
is
false.
false.
You also tried to
Okay.
you
So
tried to smuggle in something at the
can-
start of our debate, which I'm not going
I
to
can
forget, by the
justify
way.
that. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Every single year as a result of IVF, if we would give zygotes the right to life, it is the case that there's millions of human rights violations, as there's millions of zygotes that unfortunately die in IVF clinics.
But not
and
deliberately.
facilities.
Not deliberately.
Why does that matter?
Do you understand? Not deliberately. I'm trying to make this so clear to you, and you just keep skipping over
And
it.
why is that
I'm
a morally
making the
relevant
claim.
factor?
Because, okay, so you already agreed with me, and now you're asking me why it's a
I
morally
haven't agreed
relevant
to
factor.
anything. I've given you a position that you haven't responded to.
Yes. So what I was trying to say was that it was. I'm only going to go over this like a couple more times before we have to move on to a different reason why abortion is wrong. But what I was trying to
So you
explain
don't
to
want to
you is that
respond to my position?
I'm responding to it right now. Will you let me?
Wait. Actually, my original claim was that
Okay.
under Trump, there's more human rights violations.
Never said that. Never said that.
So
You
that's
did.
what I said. I said
Yeah.
my claim is this. Can you listen?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Aaron, thank you so much for the motorcycle. So my claim was that under Donald Trump's administration, there will be more human rights violations compared to under Kamala Harris's administration. You then said, no, I think that you're incorrect, Dean. So then I
I see.
qualified how I was right by instantiating that the millions of additional human rights violations under Donald Trump's administration would be tangential of the fact that he wants
I understand
state-funded
that.
IVF. So you
I
then
understand. Hold up. I
responded to
understand.
that position.
I understand.
Hold on.
Wait. Just don't let me.
You then responded to that by saying, well, that's not deliberate. Okay, even though the millions of additional human rights violations under Donald Trump's administration compared to Kamala Harris's administration aren't deliberate, that doesn't mean that the human rights violations aren't occurring, Levi.
Bro, okay, then you don't know the definition of abortion, because abortion would be the human right violation that I made. And then you are trying to smuggle in the fact that this is a human rights violation, which is what I was disagreeing with. And then you go, well, I can demonstrate this. We do not agree on the human right violation itself. The word would be deliberate. That would be the difference. So if you want to debate the difference between deliberate and non-deliberate, we can do that. But until we do that, we don't have a correct definition for human rights violation. Do you understand now?
Wait, are you saying in order for the death of an innocent person to be a human rights violations, it would require their death to be deliberate and intentional?
Only in this specific scenario.
Oh,
When I'm talking about abortion.
only as it relates to the death of a zygote or a fetus, but
Only
not a
as it
person
relates
like
to
you or
abortion,
I?
yes. Yes, only as it relates to abortion.
So why do human rights violations have to be deliberate only as it relates to abortion, but not to anything else?
Because I'll give you a correct example. Let's say I were to, like, this is some crazy hypothetical that does not make sense in reality, but don't just say because it doesn't make sense in reality, it can't be true, because this is a hypothetical that demonstrates my position. If I were to shoot somebody and that resulted in 20 more people being alive, just randomly, like 20 people resurrect from the grave, that would not be a human rights violation, because it would cause more people to be so that's why. The reason why this applies specifically to abortion is because you were trying to say that it's a human rights violation to try to make more human beings, and then in the process of failing, it's somehow a human rights violation. So this is why it directly applies to abortion, because we don't have a correct analysis for any other example, like murder. Do you understand?
Okay.
Or schmurder. I'm sorry, schmurder.
Okay, so if your argument is, well, although there's millions of additional zygotes that die every year, you don't care and it's not a human rights violations, as it will cause millions of more people to hopefully be alive because of the IVF practices, you're basically saying that you are okay with the death of innocent people insofar as it furthers our species, correct?
Insofar as it furthers our species. Sure, we can go with that. I'm actually interested to hear what you'll say.
So if enslaving a third of our population, brought about more good by furthering our species, would you care about said enslavement?
Brought about more. Can you present me a hypothetical to where that would be the case?
Yeah, so we just enslave a third of our of the American population. The enslaved third of American population works 20 hours a day for no pay, and they spend this time grinding out in engineering, mechanics. They spend this time grinding out science, medicine, etc., forcefully so under the threat of death, which then increases our GDP exponentially and makes the quality of life better for everybody else, which may lead to increases in the population and a great level of good as a consequence. So would you be okay with slavery in said scenario?
No.
Exactly.
You don't know why?
And the premise
No, I
here-
can explain why.
Sure.
Okay, so the reason why this would not be the case is because you were talking about if we were to enslave certain people, we would result in like more human life due to this certain hypothetical. The reason why this doesn't correlate is because I was talking about the deliberate termination of human life. So if you were to present me a hypothetical, which I already have, where if one person were to die for 20 lives to be gained, then I would say, yes, this is a correct hypothetical, which, by the way, you're really getting into the mud just to prove to me that it's okay to kill a human life. But
Okay, so it's okay
this
to kill
this does
innocent
not
life to further
correlate
species, but it's
because
not
it
okay
only
to
has to do with
enslave.
termination of human life,
So it's
not the enslavement.
So it's okay to kill innocent life to further a species, but it's not okay to enslave innocent life to further a species. Why?
Well, wait, when you say further our species, let's be specific. This is under the hypothetical that it would create like 20 extra lives.
Yeah, sure, some greater good.
Yeah. But
So
like
can you answer my
you could
question?
also
Why do you
bring
think
me
it's
up
okay
the
to
burning building
kill
hypothetical,
innocent?
which you do a lot. I'm
Is
surprised you haven't done that yet.
I want you to answer my question. So why do you feel as if it's okay to kill innocent life for the greater good, but it's not okay to enslave innocent life for the greater good?
Because I didn't say greater good. You stop straw manning what I say, bro.
Yo,
I didn't.
my statement of the greater good is just equivalent to some greater outcome. You posited killing one
It's
life to
not
create
just some
20 more.
greater outcome. That's not what I said.
It is what
I
you said.
I made it very, very
You said
clear,
to specifically kill one innocent life to generate 20 more. That can be
which is
referred as the
impossible, by the
greater
way.
good.
Yeah, but do you know what else could like also be
Wait.
greater good?
I just want to like
There's a million things.
Leave it. I just want to clarify. Like you gave me utilitarian ethics. You told me that the reason that you're okay with the unfortunate millions of zygotes that die as a result of IVF is because IVF generates many more lives. Okay. All
Yeah.
that you're saying is like, well, that you're a utilitarian. You're okay with killing an innocent life if it leads to a greater outcome. We can reference the
No,
greater outcome
not what I said.
specifically as like 20 additional people, or in a more vague sense as the greater good.
Bro, if you strawman my argument one more time, let me make it
I'm
very,
not
very
strawmanning
clear.
your position. If I am
Yes, it
strawmanning your
is.
position, please like reiterate to me what your actual position is so I can make sure I respond to it correctly.
Yeah, so you steelman it just fine, and then you eventually just strawman it for no reason. So what you steelmanned is that if I were to kill like one person in order to get 20 lives randomly, which is an impossible hypothetical, then that would result in the greater good. But the problem is there's multiple greater goods that would happen, like
Levi,
like
Levi, you're
alleviation
killing
of
me.
unnecessary suffering. There's multiple greater goods.
You're killing me, Levi.
Bro, what are you doing?
I just asked
What?
you to repeat your position, and you said
And I
that
just
you are
did.
okay with killing innocent life for the greater good. After you said that I was
That's not.
strawmanning your
Oh my
position
gosh.
by saying that you're okay with killing innocent life for the greater good. You're
But you
killing
can't
me,
just say
man.
because of a greater good, because then, wait, hold up. Then I could say, well, it's okay to kill somebody just so that another person doesn't have to suffer as much. That's also greater good. So, no, not the definition of greater
That would be
good, the
another
definition of multiple lives.
applicability. So why is it okay to kill one life to save 20?
Yeah, just to be clear, that has nothing to do with greater good. But
The saving the 20 lives is the greater good. Okay.
sure, but you can't just say
Listen.
that.
Okay.
This
If
is why
you
we have to
don't
move
like
on, bro.
one
You
moment,
call me a
Levi,
pivoter, but
if you don't like me referring to that outcome as the greater good, just tell me what you want me to refer to it as.
as the sustenance of population. Go ahead. Because if you were to say alleviation of unnecessary suffering, then I would say no, and that's also greater good. Do you
Okay.
understand now?
Okay. So you are now saying
Bro,
that
you're
we
not going to
can't
be able to
use the
steal man that.
term greater good, and we should rather use the term sustenance of the population. So I just want to let you know that in your argument, the sustenance of the population is the greater good. Okay.
Bro, what do you not understand? Oh my
I don't
gosh.
know why you're so prejudiced against the phrase greater good, but that's okay with me. We'll just use the phrase sustenance of the population instead. So we'll go back to my question. Why are you okay with killing innocent life for the sustenance of a population, but you're not okay with enslaving innocent life for the sustenance of a population?
Not okay with deliberate killing of a human life, but I am okay with unintentional killing of a human life for sustenance of a population. And then what your question was, why is it different than slavery? I guess I don't know. Like I don't want to just try to make up an answer on the spot. But bro, this makes zero sense because I was trying to like delineate the difference between deliberate and non-deliberate, and then you just say like the killing of human life instantly, as if that's not like if it was unintentional killing of human life in order to sustain your population, that would be a much better argument than to say like the intentional killing
Wait,
of
I
human
actually have a
life in
question.
order to sustain your population.
Okay, so you're not okay with the intentional killing of human life to sustain a population, but you're okay with the unintentional killing of life to sustain a population. I don't understand why you'd be okay with unintentional, but you're not okay with intentional, if seemingly both would lead to the same outcome. Maybe there's just like a weird little quirk with your deontic views. But what I will say is because you're unable to articulate a relevant symmetry breaker between the scenario of killing an enslavement of life to lead to a greater good or sustenance of a population, all that you're really telling me is at the end of the day you have a contradiction in your views, and I don't think that contradictory views are just. And I also just want to add on, I think it's funny that you came up here.
You've only stuck to one thing. You've been just grasping to one argument, and you haven't gone to anything else when it comes to
Levi,
the abortion topic.
Levi, if you have to guess, how long do you think that we've been speaking with one another?
Like 20 minutes over the past like one topic. and you won't let me pivot because you're saying, "Oh, you're pivoting." But dude, it's just because you won't let go of one little tiny thing.
So Levi,
And
I would
and then
like,
because of that, it's like slavery.
yeah,
This literally sounds like that one Jubilee debate that you did.
I would like to clarify, Levi, that we've been speaking for 10 minutes. And if you cannot stay
Sure.
on one topic for for more than 10 minutes, you're obviously just not confident in your own views. And I hate it when
Bro,
people
you just
try
brought
to
up
just allow
slavery.
me to finish speaking. Thank you so much, Levi. I absolutely hate it when I'll have guests like you come up here and then try to like gaslight and get mad at me for wanting to discuss one thing for 10 minutes. Like, I feel like truth shouldn't be afraid of scrutiny. And if your position can't stand scrutiny against one argument for more than 10 minutes, you're probably not aligned with truth.
Yeah. So the reason why we would have to be able to test the sustenance of population principle and other hypotheticals is because if you were to stick to one and you were to say, well, that doesn't make sense, all I would have to do is to give you a contradictory hypothetical about the sustenance of population principle. And if you're like, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense either, then now we'd be at a stalemate. So can I give you a hypothetical that would be in duress and indifferent to your, because I assume sustenance of your population is not the principle that you hold in the highest regard, right? It would be alleviation of unnecessary suffering, I would assume.
So I don't hold a moral principle as it would relate to the sustenance of a population.
But you have a
I,
metric,
I,
right?
I hold to like some baseline rights. I'm a threshold deontic, which means I think some things are wrong in all circumstances. Meanwhile, I think that other things are wrong based upon the consequences that they generate.
Wait, so couldn't that same thing apply to my specific principle?
Well, my view wouldn't apply to your principle because I think that you have a pretty like significant absolute right to life, and I don't think that it would be okay for me to kill one innocent person to save like to generate two more people.
Yeah, so okay, let me just make this
And
clear
I mean
and I
like
can
this, and I kind of gave you my reasons why, and seemingly you agreed because I framed it in the sense of like slavery. Like we all
yeah, man,
agree,
let me be clear, I didn't know.
we all agree that like we wouldn't be okay with enslaving a third of our population if it lent to like a
Sure.
10 times greater outcome in the quality of life for the remaining two-thirds of the population. And like this is diametrically opposed to your principal sustenance of a population because you're basically saying that we're not okay with generating great levels of harm for a small group of people for the better of the large group of people. And I feel like this is what leads to a contradiction in your view. But
But
if
what
you
if I
don't
were
want
to
to
give
talk about
you
this, do you have any other
oh my
reasons
gosh.
outside of abortion that you voted for Trump?
Wait, so who's pivoting now? No, if I were to give you a principle
Wait,
and then we
Levi.
talk about this
Whoa, I'm
principle,
sorry. I have to respond to that. You just got mad at me for saying that I wanted to stay on one thing forever. So I explained to you how, like, I thought that we could talk for more than 10 minutes about an argument, but you were obviously mad that we talked about that position. So then I offered you to move on. It's like
no, that's not what I was
Levi,
saying.
I can't win in this situation. You tell me that
Yes, you
you're
can.
mad at me for talking about one thing for 10 minutes. So then I address why I disagree with you. I address the fact that I don't think truth should be afraid of scrutiny. And I continue to say that if you want to talk about other reasons why you voted for Trump, I'd be down.
You're straw
And then
manning.
as soon as I say, I'm not, but what
Can
are
I
you
explain
saying?
why?
I'm not straw manning shit. I'm just describing my mental states and my attitudes. What am I? I'm not giving you a fucking counter argument. I'm just, what the fuck? Levi, I'm
I can
explaining my mental
explain.
states. Stop interrupting me. Can I just explain my thoughts real quick?
No, because it's
No.
a straw man.
Me explaining my thoughts is a straw man, Levi. I'm just going to go
Your
ahead and
thoughts
do
are
it.
steel manning my position.
My thoughts don't relate to your position on abortion. Will you just let me finish speaking?
They do though. Go ahead.
I think that you just need to listen, Levi. I'm not
But you're not gonna let me
explaining a
talk.
position on abortion. I'm just merely saying that you accused me of pivoting when I asked to debate you on any other reason why you voted for Trump. But I just like to make it clear the reason I offered you to debate about any other reason you voted for Trump was because you just got done complaining about how we spent
Yeah,
10
so that's a
minutes
straw
talking
man.
about something.
I can explain to you why it's a straw man now. Can I?
Explain to me why me
Thank you. Okay,
offering
so
you
the
no
reason
no no
why
no no
this
no
was a
no
straw
no no no
oh
no.
my gosh.
Explain to me why me offering you the option to talk about something other than abortion is a straw man.
Because you were just reiterating my position about me saying that you were pivoting when previously I had just said, well, Dean, I want to go on to other topics. And then you were like, well, if you want to go on to other topics, let's just debate about a completely different thing unrelated to abortion. What I was trying to say is you are sticking to the simple IBF principle or a hypothetical, and you will not debate anything else in relation to abortion. Do you understand what I'm talking about when it comes to pivoting now? Like I'm saying we have to stick on the topic of abortion, but we don't have to stick on like one specific thing because then we won't be able to cover it. Like we'll just be stuck.
Okay,
We'll just be stuck, which is we are stuck.
I understand what you're saying now. First of
Thank
all,
you.
you said we're stuck. No, you're stuck. Second of all, you said that.
But now you understand my position.
Would you please stop interrupting me?
Yeah, well, we're unstuck now.
First of all, you said we're stuck. No, you're stuck. Second
Yeah, go
of all,
ahead.
Levi, if you interrupt me again, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next guest.
The throne is yours.
It's not the throne, it's the mic. First of all, you said that we're stuck. No, we're not stuck. You're stuck. Second of all, you said that I was straw manning your position by offering to talk about a topic outside of abortion. Do you know what the definition of straw man is?
Dude, that's not what I said. I said you're straw manning my position because you steel manned what we just previously talked about. And what we were just previously talking about was me telling you that that I was accusing you of pivoting when I had previously said that I wanted to be able to like move on to different topics. What I was trying to say is this is a straw man of my position because I was talking about topics within abortion. And you were talking about topics.
Levi, I want you to understand what you just did. I reiterated the fact that you said I was straw manning you by offering to move on to a different subject outside of abortion. And then
Do you agree?
Levi, allow me to finish. And then you said, Dean, that's not what I said. And then you went on to describe how that's exactly what you said. Are you thinking before you speak? I think that you got too much on your mind and you're seriously just not putting conscious thought into the words that you're saying.
Well, if you mute me, it's going to sound pretty incoherent.
I don't think I need to mute you for you to sound incoherent.
Okay, sweet. So what you were trying to like display to me was that I don't want to move on to other topics, but all I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to move on to other topics that are within the principle of what I just said because you couldn't find any coherence in the principle that I just laid out. Does that make sense? So now it's not going to be hard for me to do. All I have to do is provide you a hypothetical in relationship to my position. Can I do that? Yes or no?
After I say what I want to. What is a straw
Okay.
man?
Oh, the definition of a straw man is when you present an argument that somebody has that was not their original argument, or a steel man. It's a steel man that's done incorrectly.
So
That's the
you're close.
definition of a
So you
straw man.
basically just told me that a straw man is a misrepresented proposition of one's position. And you're pretty close. You're just kind of missing the word intentional. So it has to be an intentional misrepresented proposition of one's position. And I hate it when people like throw the word straw man around when I'm just interpreting the words that you say in good faith, but I don't read your mind, so I don't know what you actually mean. Because I didn't intentionally strawman you and say, well, let's move on to a topic outside of an abortion to strawman you to intentionally misrepresent what you'd said. No, you said that you didn't want to talk about this anymore and you wanted to move on to a different topic. I, in good faith, assumed that meant that you wanted to debate things outside of abortion. But then you're like, Dean, fuck you, you're strawmanning me. I just meant that I wanted to talk about another topic inside of the umbrella of abortion. And I just think that it's annoying.
Okay, so I am sorry that that I misrepresented your unintentional, but in fair argument, I can't read your mind. And
Exactly. I can't
also,
read his either. So don't accuse
okay,
me
perfect. Well, wait, hold up.
of intentionally
Let me make a
misrepresenting your
point.
position unless
Let me make a point. I
unless I
already
did.
apologized. Very good,
Okay.
Levi. So this would make a lot of sense though to my argument, which is kind of interesting. This is just a correlation that I have from ADD. You just said that it's very, very important that we are able to discuss the difference between deliberate and undeliberate when it comes to the position of straw manning. So why can't we discuss the difference between deliberate and undeliberate when it comes to the topic of abortion?
So we can discuss the difference between deliberacy and undeliberacy within killing an innocent human life. However, I don't find the deliberacy of killing an innocent human life to be necessary to come to the conclusion that killing an innocent human life is wrong, even if it's undeliberate and on the scale of millions.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. The reason why I say that is because if you were to have, and this is a hypothetical that I can bring up right now, now that you've gotten everything out of the way, I asked you if I could bring up a hypothetical that would go against your disagreement with my sustenance of the population principle being at the top. Can I present it to you now that you're finished with everything you said?
Just to make sure that you understand my disagreement with your position on abortion, can you reiterate it?
Yes. You said that The reason why the difference between deliberate and undeliberate is not necessary is because if we were to have, like, let's say, slavery in society, and that were to raise the rates of good for the society, or like the ultimate good, then why can't we do that? And I didn't have an answer for you, and that is where I am now down a point, because I'm actually fair with my debating. But what I'm trying to present to you is I can easily make this a stalemate by simply presenting you a hypothetical that you won't be able to answer either.
Hypothetical as it relates to your position?
Yes. Can I do that now?
So like typically we use hypotheticals.
Bro.
Just give me a minute. Typically, like we use hypotheticals in a debate to like yield an internal contradiction between like a belief that I have and another belief that I have. But you're telling me that you're going to give me a hypothetical about what you believe in? Sure, go for it.
Okay. So if we were to have 40 men that were very, very useful to society,
Yeah.
and we were going to have, by the way, this is in relationship to a burning building hypothetical that I hear Parker bring up a lot. And we were to have one little girl. By the way, these 40 men that are very, very useful to society are going to get pew-pewed in the head without being able to feel anything. So it'll be a painless death, but they are sentient. And then you have one little girl that has to suffer the Chinese TT method. I don't want to say the word, but I'm pretty sure you know what that is. And which one are you going to save?
I don't know what that is.
Can I say the word? I don't think I can.
Well, I don't know if you could say the word or not because I don't know what the word is.
Tortutr.
So one human getting tortured versus 40 humans getting unalived?
Yeah, so these 40 humans are going to be very, very... so this is basically a contrast between your principle of the pain principle, so the alleviation of unnecessary suffering,
So
and then the
I
principle
could
of sustenance of human life.
so so first of all, when I'm evaluating like how wrong a human rights violation is, like I'm not really going to be considering one's usefulness to society. I'm just going to be
Okay,
considering
so it
if
should
they
be
have
fine.
like a sentient expression. So you're essentially asking me would I rather
They are sentient.
one individual have their rights violated or 40 individuals have their rights violated, and I'm in between a rock and a hard place and I have to choose
Yep.
one. Of course, I'm going to go with one human rights violation over 40.
What? You're going to go with... Okay, because of the pain principle, right?
No, because of what? No, I just told you why. Because you're framing me in a trolley problem where I have to either save one to kill 40 or save 40 to kill one. Like, I mean, in the context
And you
of
guys
a
do that with
trolley,
us too.
in the context of a trolley problem, like, I mean, that's pretty obvious. I don't understand
Wait, so just to be
going on
clear,
here.
your answer would be you would save the 40 men?
Gender doesn't have anything to do with this.
Whatever.
You're giving me
Yeah,
a group
yeah,
of one
40,
person
40 binary.
versus you're giving me a group of one person versus 40. I'm gonna save the 40 over the one.
You're going to save the 40 over the one. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So that means that your pain principle is kind of out the window. So just to be clear,
What?
I would save the little girl because that little girl would have to go through the Chinese, and let me just be clear, the Chinese torture method. I don't know if you know what that is. If you had to save one person and you were in a rock and a hard place and you had to pick right now, you would pick the 40 men over that little girl that has to suffer a bunch?
Like maybe you could add on to the hypothetical and posit that like the one person will experience a lot of pain that is greater than the suffering that would be lost via the murder of the 40 people, and I'm sure that
It's
you'd
painless.
be able to like run like an evaluation on that.
Dean,
I don't know if I have an
can I
answer
be
for
clear?
you.
Okay, well, this is perfect. Okay, so Dean, let me be clear. This is why I said it would be painless. So the 40 men that are going to get pew-pewed in the head are not going to feel anything in this hypothetical. It's going to be completely painless.
Yeah,
And there's another
yeah.
girl.
So I'm sure that there's a consideration of the pain there that I'm not making. I don't know if I have an answer to your hypothetical.
Okay, beautiful. So, yeah, it's just like neutral. I mean, if you had to pick one, you said that you'd pick the 40 men because
I was just
sustenance of your
considering
population would make more sense.
No, I was just considering human rights violations and what would lead to the less. But like maybe if like one human rights violations is considerably worse than 40 because the 40 men didn't feel any pain the little girl does, that's a valid consideration. But I just don't know if I have an answer to your incredibly twisted hypothetical on like
I can
on a
tell
whim.
you why. I can tell you why I brought this up. The reason why is a deflection from the hypothetical that you guys bring up all the time. So I know you call me insanely twisted for bringing up this, or not me
I
directly, but
didn't.
like
Wait,
the
whoa!
hypothetical.
Stop
I
being
know,
like
I
a
know. That's
dude.
why I just
What?
said,
I said it
chill
was
out,
just
chill
a
out. Just the
twisted
hypothetical
hypothetical.
being, yeah, just the I know, my bad. Just the hypothetical being twisted. But
Yeah.
you guys bring up the hypothetical all the time to where if you were at,
1 second, Levi. I just want to like go ahead and ask the chat. Is anybody else like following this conversation? 1 second, Levi. I promise this isn't about you, man. Just like for everybody watching, is anybody like view this as like a coherent talk? No. Okay.
we're comparing the difference between the principle of sustenance of
Yeah.
your population and the principle of alleviation of unnecessary suffering, because a lot of people will say that women have to go through plenty of suffering in order to have that specific baby. That's why. Do you understand now? Not you specifically, but
So
like the
you're
chat.
okay. So you're now giving. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're trying to
I
give
can
me
tell you why I gave you
Levi.
that.
Levi, just give me a minute. So correct me if I'm wrong. You just like brought up the fact that some individuals will justify a woman's access to abortion because of the pain in which the woman would feel, and now you're making an argument against that. So you're making an argument against an abortion position that I haven't given. So I don't.
But you don't know
I
why.
don't understand how we've gotten here. My position on
Dean, you
abortion is just that I don't think that a fetus has the right to life.
can explain.
More explaining? Okay,
I can explain. So
try
typically
to
you'll ask
explain
people.
more.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, Dean, typically you ask people, and Parker does the exact same thing. If you had 100 zygotes in a burning building and then you had one little girl in the burning building, which one are you saving? And my answer to that would be, I would go for the little girl. However, the correct answer would be the zygotes. And then you would say, but that's not sentient life, so it doesn't make any sense why you would do that. And then why I would do that is for the hypothetical that I just presented to you. And then the reason why you guys bring up that hypothetical is to bring a value proposition to pain. Do you understand? So,
Okay. Now I understand what you're saying. Now you're giving me
thank you.
a seemingly like cogent response to a hypothetical that I've given other people that have come up on my live, right?
That's what I was trying to say, but you kept.
Okay, Hope.
No
Thank you so
offense.
much for the well diving. So the way to reframe the hypothetical that I've given other people that come up on the live would be 100 zygotes versus one person like you or I that doesn't feel pain. Then all of a sudden you're right back in the hole you started in. But honestly, I don't really care to like dunk on you as I just did. Like, sure, like I was able to like reframe the hypothetical in a way in which now would
You
account
wouldn't be able.
for like this quote unquote pain principle. But I don't understand why I'm doing this because we started having a conversation about Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and how have you voted for Donald Trump? There's significantly more human rights violations. And now we're at a position where you're responding to a position that I didn't give you. So
You said that, not me.
Levi, I said what? Not you.
You said the human rights violation thing. I never even brought that up once, and you keep bringing it up for no reason at all.
I did say that. That was my original argument to you.
You said that we were discussing it, and I'm saying just you.
We spoke for 10 minutes about it. Or are you saying that you didn't engage with my argument?
I'm
Are you
saying
saying
that we
that you
never
pivoted
defined.
and dodged
I'm
around my
saying that we
position,
never defined
Levi?
human rights violation. We never defined human rights violation. I already said that from the beginning of our conversation.
So then we went on to frame the conversation in the context of the death of innocent life.
Yes, and then we never defined the deliberate part, which is the violation part that I would like. Oh my gosh, bro.
I don't think that
So
I
are
don't
you?
I don't think that you would need intention for human rights violations for a human rights violation to be committed. Like for instance, if I was out like driving in a truck after 4 beers and I intended to get a full tank from a gas station and I mow down a family 5 on my way, did they have their right to life violated?
Yeah, they did.
But I didn't do so deliberately.
Yeah. The reason being is because there would be no performative. This is a utilitarian argument that we already went over. There would be no performative extra amount of people that would be just randomly uprooted from the ground if that were to happen. But not the same can be said about the zygotes being artificially created.
Where the fuck are zygotes coming from? I'm just merely arguing that a death of an innocent person doesn't need to be deliberate for them to have their human right to life violated. Levi, you're all over the place, man. Honestly, here's what I'm going to recommend to you, Levi. I'd probably, like you seem like you want to learn how to debate. If I was you, I'd probably hit the Discords, get some more experience, and then like re-request in a month or
Bro,
two.
you just talk too fast, so I have to keep up with you. But
I feel
the
like I've
reason
actually
why
not been talking fast in this conversation.
I can explain. I can explain.
Levi,
At the very start, you tried
Levi,
to.
one moment. I don't know if I want you to explain anymore. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring up before I move on to the next guest?
Yes. At the very start, You said that more. You said that more people.
Sorry, Levi. That was my kind way of telling you that I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next guest. And I was hoping that you'd pick up what I was putting down, but apparently Levi didn't. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next guest. Everyone just do go ahead and give us a minute. If you're one of the 8.3 thousand people watching this live, make sure that you're double tapping away on that phone screen. I appreciate you all so much for being here. We're going to go and get that next guest up in the box literally right now, y'all. So we got Maga Man Supreme loading up in. Dean, that was me. No, I was trying to be nice. Everyone do just kind of give us one moment here, y'all. You know what I think is funny? A lot of people come up here and critique me, and they say that I only try to win debates by saying big words. And I guess to an extent, saying big words can make you look better. Because that guest, that last guest, was just as incoherent, logically and intellectually speaking, as every other guest that we always have come up on our live. But because he threw in some big words, there's like 10 people in the chat that are like, he cooked you. So it's a valid critique, man. The more big words you use in a position, like the more likely people are to be receptive of it. Like, honestly, I'd even argue that the average guest was more coherent than he was. We're gonna go and get that next guest up in here, and if you are in that queue, make sure that we're MAGA, make sure that we voted for Trump, y'all. We did miss a couple super chats just because we're focused on that conversation. Kat, thank you so much for the $20 super chat over on YouTube. I do really appreciate you so much for the love, Kat. Kat says, just want to say that I appreciate what you do. Dean, my dog of 14 years old, passed away last night, but having something good to watch distracts me from the pain. Kat, I'm so fucking sorry to hear that. The death of animals is sometimes harder than the deaths of people. Just kidding, but maybe even true for a couple of us. If my cat died, I'd be so fucking sad, and I'm so sad. I'm so sorry to hear that, Cat. Everybody, please show some love to Cat in the chat, not only for the $20 donation, but also because their dog died last night. I'm so sorry to hear that. Sammy and Manny, thank you both for the $5 over on Super Chat. Then Calico with a 5 as well. We're gonna go and get that next guest up in here. It actually looks like we already have him. What's up, Trace? Did you vote for Trump?
Bro, I didn't even mean to join this, bro. I can't lie.
No worries, Trace. Don't worry about it. We're going to go to move on to the next guest. Everyone just give us a minute. We got local loading up. Yo, Olivia, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Braden with the $5. Taylor with the $5. And Lauren, thank you so much for the $20 donation over on Venmo. Everybody, please show some love to Lauren in that chat. And then Jesse and AJ with the $10 each. Thank you so much, Jesse and AJ. And then Haley, thank you for the $35 over on Venmo. 350 W's for Haley. That is Hailee. Thank you, Haley. Kim with a 4, Carla with a 5, and Dre with a 10. You guys are phenomenal, and thank you so much for the love. What is up, Loca? Did you vote for Trump?
Hey, so I didn't, but I just had a question about.
I'm sorry, but guys, please, we only have about another hour on the stream. We only have about another hour on the stream. If we are in that queue, make sure that we voted for Trump. Unfortunately, I will not be taking any requests from any liberals today just because we have a very short stream in front of us. Jessica, thank you for the $10 on PayPal, and Christabelli with a 20. Thank you, Christabel and Jessica. Everybody, please show some love to Christabel and Jessica down below in that queue. In that chat, literally right now. Thank you so much, Christabel and Jessica. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, Christabel and Jessica. Then Hannah with a $10 on Venmo, Madison with a 5, and Caitlin with a 2. You guys are phenomenal. What is going on, Sway Lee? Did you vote for Trump?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, Sway Lee, are you driving right now?
I'm sorry?
Are you driving?
No, sir, I'm in the passenger seat.
All right, would you mind disconnecting from that Bluetooth for me?
Yeah, it should be disconnected now.
All right, yeah, sweet, sounds good. So why did you do it? Why did you vote for Trump?
Yes, sir. So it was just more or less a reoccurring theme. I wasn't a big fan of Kamala. I didn't like how she was speaking on stage. And yeah, more or less kind of, yeah, I voted for him back in 2020. And then, yeah, once again in 2024.
Yeah, I'll never understand the critique of Kamala Harris saying that you don't like how she spoke on stage. I'm not gonna lie, the last president with a stage presence like Kamala Harris was Obama. Not gonna lie, let's be honest. She was she was a pretty good speaker, significantly better than both Trump and Biden. But I also just kind of want to point out, I just think it's wild that the deal breaker for Kamala Harris was apparently how she spoke on stage, but a deal breaker for Trump isn't that he's a rapist, isn't that he's a felon, isn't that he wants to ethnically cleanse 2.1 million people off the Gaza Strip, isn't the fact that his economic policy hurts 97% of Americans, hurting low-income Americans the most, isn't the regressive immigration policy that hurts migrants and hurts America and the American economy and you and me. But stage presence was a deal breaker for Kamala Harris. I just think it's very disingenuous.
Yeah, fair enough.
guess it was fair enough. He was being honest. He said fair enough.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, no, yeah, fair enough. I guess the biggest thing I would like to talk about is immigration, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about immigration, bro. Amber, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Alina with the 22 cents, and then AGNE with the $10. Thank you, AGNE. AGNE says, thanks for being a breath of fresh air and a voice of reason. Thank you so much for the love. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. I have a question. Can you name one policy that's ever been presented to Congress or the American people by Donald Trump to reduce undocumented migration in the long term?
Can you repeat that last part really quick? Sorry about that.
Let's name one policy Donald Trump has ever brought forward to reduce undocumented migration into America in the long term.
I cannot name one, sir.
Okay. So
But
then you
I will
didn't vote
say,
for Trump to reduce undocumented migration. So why did you vote for him in the context of immigration?
yeah, I never said I did. Sorry. I don't know if I ever said that, but no, I was just asking if we could talk about that. I mean, more or less, like, what's your take on Kamala's take on immigration?
Listen, I thought that Kamala Harris's take on immigration was better than Trump's. That's all. Listen.
Okay.
So there's two things that I really disagree with the Democrat Party on: support for Israel and immigration policy. I don't think anybody in Congress is doing damn near enough, but they definitely did better than Trump.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, I'm not big into the policies, but I do work with like a lot of immigrants and stuff. And I guess why is it that like is it factual that Obama had deported more illegal immigrants than Donald Trump in his first term? Is that fair to say that's factual? I have seen that.
Well, I mean, sure. Of course, I'm going to assume that more individuals were deported in 8 years than 4. Yeah.
Yes, sir. But if we take Obama's first term compared to Trump's first term,
yeah, it's possible that it's even true then.
So then why is it like a I guess why is it a different stance from Democrats and I guess Republicans at this point to say that like the stance I hear a lot from Democrats?
Why would I call Trump racist but not Obama?
Yes, sir.
Great question. Honestly, super fair question. On its surface, I actually understand why you asked that if he deported more. So you're actually asking a good one. And I have a good response as well. So first, we need to point out that I disagree with deporting any and all undocumented migrants that have not committed violent crimes. And if Obama, if Biden, if any Democrat did that, I disagree with them too. But the reason that I think that Donald Trump is racist or xenophobic, let's be more specific, in a lot of his immigration policy compared to Obama, even though Obama deported more, is because Donald Trump has ran on the mass deportation of all undocumented migrants in our country, while doing nothing to reduce the amount of undocumented migrants that enter into our country in the long term, and actively shooting down bills such as the bipartisan border bill under the Biden-Harris administration that would have reduced undocumented migration right now, so more undocumented migrants continue to enter into our country, so then he could continue to demonize them to his voter base, calling them MS-13 P3DO gang members that are going to rape your wife, kidnap your children, and eat your pets and dogs, while also calling legal migrants, like the Haitian refugees in Springfield, Ohio, illegal, then accusing them of violent crimes, and just straight up spreading propaganda to scare prejudiced white people into supporting him out of a vehement hate for undocumented migrants, while on top of that, dehumanizing undocumented migrants, saying that they're essentially subhuman by calling them quote-unquote illegal aliens, while then not holding any of those same standards to himself, the 34-count felon rapist that called violent offenders that beat up cops on January 6th patriots and then pardoned them from jail, letting them roam free on the streets.
Yeah, I like your point. That's a good point. Now, let me ask you this: in the sense of Biden, did you think he did good on the immigration policy? Like, do you think he was doing anything in the sense of making it easier to become legal?
He proposed a bipartisan border bill. It was a step in the right direction. It was better than anything Trump's doing. But like I said, I'm pretty fucking far left when it comes to immigration, man. Significantly further left than the Biden-Harris administration. But my response is better than Trump.
Okay, what do you mean by far left? Can you just elaborate that a little bit?
Yeah, in my ideal version of society, there would be
Yes,
as
sir.
many legal ports of entry of America as possible, near open borders, only screening individuals out that had prior violent offenses, while offering all undocumented migrants that are already in our country that have not committed violent offenses a pathway to residency or citizenship. So, like, I mean, like, fairly far left.
Yeah, wouldn't you say? Yeah, I would say that's far left, and I'm not. I don't think I'm far off, even though I did vote for Trump. And I mean, you can't take it back. But like, what's your opinion on tax ID numbers then? Like, because you can technically
Libertarians?
be, yes, sir, yeah. So you can be technically illegal and work a job, pay your taxes,
Hmm.
get a driver's license. So, like, I talk to a lot of people. They're not necessarily scared of Trump. They were actually more scared of Biden because they felt like he had really no idea what he was doing. Now I can't pull up any
Wait,
bills
are
or
you,
any
are you talking
policies.
about undocumented migrants? Because that's not true.
Yes, sir.
No, no, no.
No, no,
That's objectively not true. Donald Trump is like saying that he now has the ability to deport any asylum seeker in the process of gaining residency that has entered into our country in the last 2 years without due process. He's reenacted the Alien Enemies Act of the 18th century, then claiming he never did, just so he could deport Venezuelan undocumented migrants on the basis of claiming they're in a gang without due process. He supported and passed the Lake and Riley Act, which is where we could deport undocumented migrants that are merely accused of violent crimes without due
hmm
process, which is also very horrendous. If I was
right.
president, I would have vetoed the Lake and Riley Act, not only because it doesn't give undocumented migrants due process, but because they don't have due process in America. They were never adjudicated of committing any violent crime. What happens when they're deported to their home country? They roam free, and if they actually are like a violent child rapist that is now roaming free in the streets of other countries, what the fuck are they gonna do? Absolutely terrible bill, 110%. Not only for the innocent undocumented migrants that are merely accused of committing crimes they didn't, but also for the guilty undocumented migrants that were accused of a crime they did commit, got no legal process, then get to roam free in the streets of other countries. Jesus fucking Christ, that's terrible.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I agree. Now let me ask you this: do you know any illegal immigrants? Like, have you
do I
spoken to
know any
them?
undocumented migrants? Well, I don't want to share that information.
Okay,
I
yeah. Well, I do.
I I I I, I
I mean,
think it's incredibly irresponsible for anybody to be publicly speaking about undocumented migrants that they may know in person on the internet.
why do you think that? I mean, there's no location tracker on me or you at this moment, so I mean, I don't have any in my car, so I don't think it's irresponsible or really. I mean, I'm just saying real life scenarios. Like, I don't look at the news. I don't
Listen,
look
listen.
at.
All I'm saying is people know where I live. People know the town I live in.
Okay, I didn't know
Like,
that. Sorry.
no, no, you're all good. It's just. I think it's irresponsible.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, like I said, from real life experience, speaking to undocumented, illegal, whatever terminology, I respect them as humans, so I just call them humans. Like from talking to them, they are not as worried of Trump rather than Biden. Like,
That's
so
not true.
I know you. No, I'm telling you, like this is what they say. They're not worried about him. Uh,
Okay. Well, you're either like lying to me,
yeah, I'm
or
not
like
lying to you.
the undocumented migrants that like are like very misinformed. But like
Yeah,
the preposterous levels of like propaganda that have to be like spewed into the brain of an undocumented migrant for them to think that they should be more scared of Biden than Trump is so preposterous. I don't think it's possible. That's why I'm saying that I think you may be lying.
Okay, well, if you think I'm lying, that's okay. But the
I
re
actually think a strong argument could be made that the probability is higher that you are lying compared to the probability is that you're telling the truth, and you actually do know multiple undocumented migrants that are more scared of Biden than Trump unjustly. But here's what I'd say: even if you do know, if even that you're not lying and you are telling the truth, they're wrong.
So you would tell someone that is in the shoes that we're talking about that they're wrong
If
over.
they're more
Okay, fair
scared
enough.
of Biden than Trump, I would absolutely tell them that for their best interests.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, so and then do you know too much about the opening like a business, even if you were illegal, and putting I think it's like $200,000 to open the business to become legal as a citizen? Do you know too much about that then, or not too much?
No, is that like Trump policy?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was open. I can't tell you the policy or anything, so if you're gonna ask that, I really can't name that. But I know it is something he did open
Um,
back.
I don't feel like it's real. I feel like I
Okay.
know about it if that was real. I mean, feel free
No,
to give me a source that it is.
yeah, I can definitely source it real quick for you as well.
Are you? I think that are you talking about like the gold card, like the
No,
$5 million
sir,
gold
no,
card?
no, no,
No.
sir. I mean, I think the gold card's a joke. I think
So
that's
you're
gonna.
saying that an undocumented migrant can come to America with $200,000, start a business, and gain citizenship?
Yes, sir. There's some loophole you can claim asylum. Um,
Oh.
there's also the business route. Like I
Oh
said,
wait, wait. You're
I've
telling me there's a loophole. So it's not a policy that Trump passed. If it's just a loophole.
well, no, it was under him that it opened up. So I don't know if it's a loophole technically, but it is a way to gain citizenship. It's like
Is-
$200,000. You have to open a business, own land, but it is one way to gain citizenship as
Well,
well as like the asylum and
you're
stuff as
probably
well.
referring to like some legal mean of migration, but okay, like what do you want to debate?
Yes,
Because
correct.
I have a question. Why would you vote for Trump because of immigration policy if you swing like pretty far left on the topic of immigration? That
Well,
doesn't
I
make any
guess I don't
sense.
swing left because I don't agree with anything like I know
Cool.
you
Thank you for
said
$5
there
on
was
PayPal. Wait, okay, let's
I know you
just let
said
me
there
let me
was
just ask you quick questions. Do you think that mass deportation of all undocumented migrants in America is better than offering undocumented migrants that have not committed a violent crime a pathway to residency or citizenship?
Can you repeat that last part one more time for me? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I got a call. Is better than offering undocumented migrants that have not committed a violent crime a pathway to residency or citizenship.
I mean, I would say yes, but I don't think
Okay, why?
any candidate.
Name one reason why mass deportation is preferable over mass
No, oh,
amnesty.
no, 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 no. I was agreeing with the second part. Yeah,
Okay.
where you give more people a way to legal citizenship and everything.
Okay, great. Got it.
Uh,
Got it. So,
I think
so then on the topic of mass deportation, you disagree with Trump. Now I have a question. Can you please name one border policy of his that you agree with?
no, but I did see the statistics are down like on people entering. I'm not
Yeah,
exactly
because the
sure.
band-aids on foreign incisions, I don't think it's important. I don't really care as long as it's not a long-term solution. So now that we've agreed that you can't name a single policy of Trump's that you agree with in the context of immigration and you disagree with his mass deportation, why would you vote for Trump about something that you A, don't know anything about, and B, disagree with the things that you do know about? That doesn't make
Yeah,
much sense.
no, yes, sir. I'm just saying, like, I was more or less asking on the Democratic side of things. There's not been too much that's really even been brought up, done, or anything to help.
False. There's been more than Trump.
In what sense?
The
I'm
bipartisan
sorry.
border bill, it was gonna
And
just
what exactly is that? Can you
yeah,
explain that to me?
the meat on the bone of the bipartisan border bill was allotting more funding to courts on the border to make claims of asylum, residency, and citizenship faster by hiring more judges to process more people. It was a step in the right direction. Donald Trump called Republicans, told them to vote against it. And if you want to critique the Democrats for not doing anything, even though they did have a step in the right direction, how come earlier when I asked you if Donald Trump had any solution to make immigration faster to reduce undocumented migration in the long term, you just kind of said no, moved on to your next point, never mentioned it again, didn't critique him. But then as it applies to what you believe of the Democratic Party, it's the biggest deal in the world.
I didn't say it was the biggest deal in the world. I think you're putting words in my mouth. Um, but yeah, I guess my question is if Trump was really going to do all the things about mass deportation, and that sounds like it's a pretty big gripe, why wouldn't he just eliminate ITNs in that sense?
ITINs? I don't know. Ask him. All that I know is that he does want to do mass deportation of all undocumented migrants.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah, because it is something he is doing.
okay, I see what you're saying, but oh no, I think the ITN is. I don't think he's going after people that have their ITNs.
Okay, well, there's just an unfounded conspiracy theory. I'd say that claim finally falls under the category of conspiracy theory. The reason
You
I
think
say
so?
yes, the reason that I say that claim falls under the category of conspiracy theory is because he has been stating for the last year that he wants to deport every single undocumented migrant in America. And also, I
But
doubt.
doesn't
Well, I mean,
ITN follow under documentation or no?
an
I mean,
ITIN An ITIN is like an identifier for an undocumented migrant to pay their taxes, but that doesn't mean they're not
correct.
an undocumented migrant.
Wouldn't that be a form of documentation now?
A form of documentation as it applies to their income to the IRS, not to our government, and documenting them as a person.
And documentation wouldn't fall under driver's license either, correct? Because
Well, when we use the term undocumented migrant, we're saying that there's a migrant who did not use documented means of entry. They're not here illegally under a legal status. Okay, right?
right,
That's like where like the very dehumanizing word illegal immigrant comes from, is because they are
yes,
not
sir.
here under a legal status. All right. So when like if they have an ITIN, they're still not here under a legal status. Therefore, they're an undocumented migrant.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, is there anything else that you want to bring up before I move on to the next guest?
Yeah, probably one more thing, I guess,
Okay. All
if
right.
that's
Do you have any
okay.
other reasons why you voted for Trump?
Yeah, I like his economics. I think it was very easy, simple term is just I had more money in my pocket when he was in office the first time rather than when
Mm.
Biden was in office.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I
Yep.
think that's how a lot of people ended up voting, as well
No,
as
you're right.
the Democrats were, I mean, anyone could say anything. Um, but at the end of the day, Democrats were saying this, that, and the other. And then Kamala was going against her own word as far as like
Mm.
tax on no tips and everything, or no tax on tips, no
What?
tax on overtime.
What do you mean she was going against her own word? What?
Like Trump said it first in the debate, and then she brought it up, and then once he called her out for it, it was no longer heard of.
Bernie
Um,
Bernie Sanders said it before Trump. Does that mean that Trump was going against his own word?
I mean, I guess so. Maybe a little bit, but I guess I was worrying about the now.
Wait. I'm so confused on what you think going against your own word means. Because when I hear the phrase going against your own word, I think somebody's being a little hypocrite. You know, you say go do good things, but then you go do bad things. That's what it means to go against your own word. It's hypocrisy. But I don't think that having good policy makes you a hypocrite. How is having good policy hypocritical? What?
So would you agree with
Maybe
Trump then?
it'd be hypocritical if Kamala Harris said that Donald Trump's no tax on tips was terrible, and then she announced the identical. That would be going against her own word.
Well, I guess that's what she did, because didn't she say in the debate that he has no good policies, this, that, and the other, and then she brought it up? So I guess
Wait,
that kind of be it. Because
I never heard her say, and I quote, he has no good policies.
let me look it up. I'll pull that source for you if you're okay with that.
Wait, and I just want to put it out there. Yeah, we actually haven't seen no tax on tips as a policy from Trump yet. So
I didn't see it from Kamala either yet, but
she's not fucking president. Of course you won't see it from her. It kind of requires being in the executive
I
branch
was
of our
just kidding.
government.
Relax, dude.
Jesus Christ.
You're getting red in the
I'm
face,
about to blow
brother.
up.
Come
Yeah,
on,
I'm about to
man.
go
I know.
crazy. I'm about to go crazy. I'm about to go crazy. Yeah, that's right. I'm about to,
Hey,
I am
I
about to get
see
red in the
that.
face. I am about to get red in the face. You
Holy,
fucking,
no,
that's
you
right.
were, dude. I thought you were about to blow a gasket on me. I saw the smoke coming out your ears and everything. Damn, bro. Oh man, I think you're a cool guy. I'm pulling up this source for you right now, Dean. Don't you worry, buddy.
Okay.
Don't look at me like that.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah,
kick me either.
I'm not gonna kick you. But yo, Carla, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. I appreciate you for the love, Carla. Carla says love you. Johnny has really good talking points as it relates to reductions and border crossings. I'll have to go ask him what they are. Thank you so much for the love, Carla. Everybody, please show some love to Carla. And then Thomas with a $20 donation over on Venmo from 6 minutes ago. Thomas, you are in here every single day with the same $20 donation with the same little money emoji, dude. Thomas, I love you, man. Everybody, please show some love to Thomas down below in that chat. You are so incredibly kind. Huge ups to Mr. Thomas. You are based. Everybody, please show some love to Thomas down below. We all love you here. We all love you here. Huge W's to Thomas down below in that chat. That's right. If you're watching and you want to support, by the way, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal down below in the link tree in the bio. If you're on TikTok, it's also in the pin message if you're watching over on YouTube. I'm only going to be live for around another hour. We have a short stream today because as soon as I'm done with my live, I'm going to be heading over to my local university, CMU, Colorado Mesa University. They're having a white supremacist speak, and I'm going to document it. I'm going to document it as much as I can. So very short stream today. Very short stream today. Okay. I'm guessing you can't find a source, right?
Yeah, that'd be right.
Okay. What if I just assume that you're right and I'm wrong, even though you can't find a source?
All right, can I get? Yeah. I mean, if I beat you in an argument, I'll take it as a win.
Well, you're not going to beat me because we can make
No,
this.
no, you just said I talked to win. I'll take it as a win.
Sway Lee, okay. Now I'm not going to let us make that assumption if you're going to get all pompous and egotistical from it. Fuck you. Go find that source.
No,
bud.
you get paid for this. I don't get paid for this. I got to work a full-time job, and I just beat you in an argument.
No, you didn't beat me in
Don't be
shit.
mad
Go
at
find
me.
a source.
No, you just said it. You just said I'm right, you're wrong.
I literally said we could assume for intents and purposes, even though you can't find
No, you
evidence that
didn't.
you're right.
You didn't put the terms and conditions in that one. You said I was right, you were wrong.
All right, buddy. Obviously, you're just gaslighting me. Obviously, I put the terms and conditions in it, and obviously, everybody in the chat could justify that as being true. We obviously just have
No, look at it. Look at
in
everyone in the chat. They're all on my side now.
Everybody spamming L gas is on your side.
L Dean. Come on, you see that? Don't look at it.
Okay,
on,
yeah, Jesse Trevino in the chat says
He's
Dean
lost.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, stop rage baiting.
No, I'm not rage baiting. Yeah, I think it's dope you get paid to do your thing.
Wait, are you being like serious? Because I thought that you were just being funny.
No, I thought it was actually. I think it's pretty cool. You do. I don't put Democratic, Republican. I see people as people. I think I know you got to do your thing and get people heated to make clips and stuff. I ain't that type of person. I'd shake your hand. I think you're cool.
Okay. Well, I will say I've actually gotten decent vibes off you in our conversation, which I don't say
No, I
often.
appreciate that.
I
Yeah,
don't
but
I don't
I'll
I don't
let you
say it
go. I don't want
often.
to hold you up. I know you got to piss some more people off, so I'll let you do your thing.
I'm gonna
I
make
appreciate the conversation.
I'm gonna make one last point to you before you head off. So, assuming that
All
what you
right.
told us is true, even though you couldn't find us a source, that would be hypocritical for her to be like, "Oh, he has no good policy, even though there's no tax on tips," and she picks up no tax on tips. Of course, it's an example of hypocrisy in Kamala Harris. That doesn't compare to the hypocrisy of Donald Trump saying that he's pro law and order and wants to kill cop killers, but then he calls individuals that violently beat up cops on January 6th patriots that deserve to be pardoned and let out of jail. That doesn't compare to saying that he wants to save democracy while trying to coup and rig the outcome of the 2020 election. That doesn't compare to saying that he cares about the average working class American. Meanwhile, his economic policy wants to make it worse. There's so much more hypocrisy on the right in MAGA, specifically with Trump and his cabinet, that now we see like tweets coming from Tulsi Gabbard where she said, "Oh, if you leak classified documents, you deserve to be prosecuted." But then when she and her buddies, Pete Hegseth, do it, well, all of a sudden they just start fucking literally hating on the journalists they accidentally leaked it to. But yeah, no, man, have a good rest of your day.
No, I would say I agree with you. And I have one last question. This is real short. I'll
Okay.
just touch base on it. Do you think the very rich people are trying to eliminate the middle class and just make it poverty to rich people? And I think that goes
Um,
Democratic,
are they trying to
Republican.
make poor people poor?
No, 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 no. Do you think they're trying to? So you know how they're like? I
Eliminate
mean,
the
I
middle
guess
class?
yeah, like more or less. Like that's my theory. I think either which way you roll, I think everyone's in cahoots at the end of the day up
Here,
at the
here's
top.
here's my thoughts.
Yes, sir.
Here's my thoughts. I don't think that like super rich people are intentionally striving to eliminate the middle class, because the existence of the middle class aids and abets in the like prosperity of the economy, which helps them. But
Yes, sir.
I think what my claim is if the ultra rich people do things that hurt people in the middle class and hurt the quality of lives for like low income Americans, middle class Americans, etc., that as
Hmm.
long as they generate a profit, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think either which way you look at it, I think Democratic, Republican, I think the younger generation has to kind of stick together as much as possible. But no, in all seriousness, I think it's super cool what you're doing. Whether or not we vote the same, it don't matter. We got the same skin as everyone else does. But I appreciate you for having me on here for sure.
What does he mean by that? Okay, have a
And
good one,
I
Sir
mean,
Willie. Have a good one. We're gonna go to move on to the next guest. I'm sure he meant something kind by that. I'm sure he meant something kind by that. I don't know what he meant, but I bet he meant something kind by that. Jammy, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. I do really appreciate you so much for the love, Jammy. JA, thank you for the $10 as well. I do really appreciate you so much for the love, JA. And then, oh my God, yo, Cole! Cole, thank you so much for the $100 super chat. I think he meant to say like same blood. I think that's what he meant to say. Thank you for the love, Cole. I do really appreciate you so much for the love, Cole, with $100 donation. That's insane, dude. That's so incredibly kind of you. I can't believe it. Thank you so much for the love, Cole. Cole says, hope you guys are having a good day. Thank you so much, Cole. Actually, I am having a good day. I always have a better day when I'm spending it with you guys here on live. I seriously love you guys so much. Like, oh my God, dude. I love what I do so much. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to do what I do. Wendy, thank you for the $5 donation on Venmo. Let's get at least 1,000 W Coles down below in all those live chats. And I mean that seriously. But what is going on, Jay? Did you vote for Trump?
I did, yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I would love to stretch your tight little boy pussy. You're so cute.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest. We got Jesse Lassie loading up into the box. Everybody just give us a minute. All right, we're going to go ahead and get that next guest loaded up in. Everyone just be patient while we get that next guest loaded up into the live. They're loaded in as we speak. The next guest is coming up. Here we go. Awesome. If you're MAGA, let me know in the chat. Somebody in the chat said he cooked. Bro, mods ban him. Mods ban him. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go. Everyone just got to give us a minute. Go ahead and ban that chatter while we get that next guest up in the box. Here we go. We got Callum loading in as we speak. Oh man, wow, okay, who's this Dogs of New York freak that keeps saying, "Why are you afraid of me, Dean?" And they like are misspelling it. Dude, hey, you gotta explain yourself, quote unquote Dogs of New York. You got some fucking problems with me, and I have no clue why. I just want to ask you, how narcissistic do you have to be to spam the chat for like 30 minutes straight about how scared you think I am of you when there's in total over
Yeah.
10,000 people watching this live.
Yep,
I don't
I'll
know your
respond if
name,
you
brother.
want.
I don't know your name.
Do you want me to respond or no? Do you want me to respond?
Well, I mean, if you're
Or
asking
do you
me
just
for
wanna
what I
go
want,
off?
I
It's
don't
because-
want to know it. I don't really want you to respond now.
It's because I want to get up here. If you don't spam, you don't get up here. That's just how it works. Look, I got up here, so it worked. Crazy how that works.
So you don't actually think that I'm afraid of you?
Why would you be afraid of what? Doesn't make any sense. That's all you do all day is debate people on TikTok. Why would you be afraid of me? That doesn't make any sense at all.
I'm kicking you just for being dishonest. Learn your lesson, dogs of New York. Learn your lesson. What's up,
Hello?
Tiny Tim? Did you vote for Trump?
I did.
Tiny Tim,
I'm
I'm disappointed. No, wait. I'm disappointed in you.
Sure.
I'm really disappointed in you.
So I'll start off by saying I will admit he has an abhorrent personality. He talks bad about everyone. He does lie. I wouldn't be surprised if he evades taxes, but I did nevertheless vote for him. So
And why'd you do it?
I consider safety. So this sounds like I've moved around a lot, not for great reasons, and I've heard from a lot of people, and Trump definitely breaks up our country. Creates polarization, but the biggest thing I'm afraid of is the other American citizens. But I actually feel from a global standpoint. I think Trump. I think he is definitely shady, but I actually feel more safe on a global level. And if you were to say, well, what matters more, Tiny Tim, going out and, wondering it, like I consider wonder if I'm going to get nuked tomorrow is a more important type of safety that I feel with Trump rather than the safety of, my friendships. It's very sad what Trump has done in terms of polarization, but I think there's a bigger aspect that I do feel safe with Trump that I haven't with other politicians.
So first, we just need to point out that obviously the safety is unfounded. I mean, dude wants to annex our allies, possibly invade Greenland with military. That would start a war between America and NATO, by the way. I mean, France has already put boots on the ground in Greenland. Same thing with Panama. And about like Russia and Ukraine, when we stop funding Ukraine, we cripple them. That gives Russia more power. I'm pretty sure dictators with more power doesn't mean American is more safe. So, safer. Is it kind of like just like an emotional comfort thing? Like Donald Trump's definitely not doing anything to make you safer. But is it just kind of like, the orange man gets up on the podium, shakes his little hands and talks about how much he hates everyone, and it's just like, oh, I feel safer. Is it like a comfort thing? Some of us have weighted blankets. Some of us have little tiny bears with a bunch of fuzz inside to cuddle with while we sleep. Some of us have a favorite tea. You just have Trump. Is that?
Well, it's funny you say that. I'm using a weighted blanket right now. But won't you admit that? I mean, Donald Trump caused the missile moratorium with North Korea. No other president has been able to do that. Won't you admit that that's pretty impressive?
How do you define missile moratorium?
During Trump's presidency in the 2016 term, Trump was able to cease the testing of nuclear warheads with North Korea, which was some sort of no one has been able to do that. I truly believe, and this is where it comes down. I don't consider myself a Republican, but this does come down to where I am pro-Trump. I don't think any other president could be able to do that. You have to have a kind of shady guy like Donald Trump to actually get one of the only two communist countries in the world to actually stop testing their nuclear missiles and threatening you. I don't think anyone else could have done that other than Donald Trump.
Okay.
Wasn't he the first U.S. president to step foot in North Korea?
Do you mind if I just respond real quick?
Go for it, yeah.
So I'm not even going to give you a response in words. I'm just going to give you a website. Go on Google, type in Voice of America English News, North Korea tests more missiles, violating pledge to Trump. After North Korea had pledged to Trump that they'd stop testing their missiles to enter into a missile moratorium, they didn't. They lied. They continued their missile tests.
Wait, but is this like 2025?
This is 2019.
I'm honestly shocked to hear that. Uh,
Yeah, that was under his first admin, bro.
I would still say that I also, and you could, this is a point that I'm sure you'll have a lot to say on. I admire his approach from taking a more, you would expect someone like Donald Trump to actually be going after this whole Ukraine-Russia thing with very
Holy
polarized intent
Holy
and very
cow.
like,
Damn,
and-
you did the weave. You did the Trump weave.
sorry, what?
You did the Trump weave. It was impressive. You somehow led your way into talking about Russia and Ukraine while not skipping a beat or breath, responding to the fact that I brought up that North Korea never stopped missile testing under Donald Trump's first administration. That was impressive.
Well, no, I told you. I said you got me there.
Okay, all right.
But
Go
no,
ahead.
but it did last for a certain amount of years, and it's true. I think he was the first U.S. president to step foot on North Korean soil. It was impressive, nevertheless, even if it was short term. I didn't see Joe Biden as someone who was great. This really comes down to a global affairs
June,
issue.
July. Wait, I'm not good with my months. Let's see. June, July, August. Okay. So you said it lasted a handful of years? So I'm seeing reporting here from NPR that Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un in June 30th of 2019. And the reporting from VOA that they continued missile testing was in August 23rd of 2019. So it lasted for exactly 1 month and 23 days.
I'm shocked by that because North Koreans. There was a CNN interview regarding this whole thing, and you know how North Koreans hate Americans, and it's like I think it's an hour-long CNN thing, and even North Koreans have come to actually. They've limited their U.S. propaganda. They used to have like propaganda about hating America, death to all Americans. They've actually shaved that down a little bit, and the interview actually asks them why has this happened, and they say because obviously they only
Wait! Interviews with North Korean soldiers?
No, not soldiers, citizens.
Citizens,
Yeah.
so current citizens of North Korea on this globally broadcasted interview.
Look, CNN. They allow tourism there. They allow things there as long as you don't have an American.
They shaved it down. Okay, so Donald Trump is good for global tensions because he made North Korea shave down the American propaganda a little bit.
That's a crazy feat that I think you're undermining right there. To get North
Whoa!
okay with
Right now, this claim
Crazy.
is completely and purely fucking rhetoric. I just want to let you know. No, I don't think you'd be able to demonstrate to us after any evidence, that after Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un, they kind of shaved down on the American propaganda a little bit, especially when we consider the fact that not even a month and 23 days after entering into a missile moratorium with Trump, they violated it and continued their missile testing offshore of South Korea. So you purely have a rhetorical position with no substance to back it. But what I want to say is, holy shit, why are we focused on Kim Jong-un so much? When I'm considering threats to America on the global scale, I'm never really thinking about Kim Jong-un. I think he's just like a chihuahua, a really loud little dog.
I think relationships with him
that barks a lot, but won't really do anything.
I think that it is a smokescreen that they pretend that they are much more powerful than they actually are. I think the U.S. has over 1,000 nuclear warheads and they have like under 100. So I'll admit that there are bigger, more important things than that. I'm just saying.
Okay, what do you say that those bigger, more important things are like Donald Trump threatening to invade Greenland, which is a part of NATO with their fucking military. He said that he couldn't specifically promise a news reporter that he would not. That caused France to put boots on the ground in NATO if he followed through with something that he said he might do that will start World War III. Or what about pulling out of support for Ukraine, meaning that countries like the UK and Poland are stepping up, putting boots on the ground in Ukraine right now, which incentivizes Russia to expand on the Western Front into countries like Poland, violating and like impeding upon a NATO country, which would, in accordance with Article 5 of NATO documents, require us to enter into a war with Russia starting World War III, or the ethnic cleansing and displacement of 2.1 million Palestinians off of the Gaza Strip to elsewhere. Like, those things are bad, but not as bad as North Korea, I guess, slightly shaving down American propaganda, which we don't even know to be true because you can't give any evidence or substance to justify that.
No, there is, but it's not an article. It's a video. There's a CNN thing that came out within the past month because they resumed tourism there. It's a video. It's not an article. But it's very interesting. I do recommend you watch it. But they have shaved down. But yeah, if you think that's not important, I'll move on to what you said else, the other things. Greenland, I don't think invading, first of all, I don't think he would invade Greenland. I'll tell you why. If he actually had concrete plans to do something, he would not be as talkative about it. And this is clearly just him trying to get a rise out of everyone. If he actually
get a rise, it's defined as fear mongering. Is fear mongering good for
he's
global
doing it
tensions?
for sure, but I don't actually think that there's anything to worry about there. Not to mention, I don't think Denmark, who's backing it up, would. I don't think Greenland is such
It's not just Denmark. It's NATO.
I don't think NATO can't stand up for Ukraine, and I don't think they would stand up for Greenland either. To be honest,
They already have. France has already put boots on the ground.
It's very limited.
Oh,
it is existing.
Wait, so okay, let me get this straight. You think that North Korea is a greater threat than all of Europe? You idiot. Sorry, I'm going to get banned for that. If I get banned, everyone go to my YouTube account. I shouldn't have called him that. YouTube account, link in bio. When we get banned for harassment and bullying, go to the link, not link tree, go to my YouTube. Go ahead.
To be honest, I would actually. France is a power. Yikes. France is a powerful country, but the thing is I would say that Kim Jong-un is more tyrannical than Macron, and if someone's going to click the big red button tomorrow, it would be much more likely to be the anarchist or the dictator Kim Jong-un. Wouldn't you say that that's someone who's much more...
So you'd say that apparently North Korea is slightly shaving down American propaganda while violating the agreement they made with Trump, still testing missiles, is preferable to the entirety of Europe not preparing for a war with America if Donald Trump follows through with his statement of a possible invasion of Greenland. Bro, stop lying to yourself. I don't know, man. Listen, I have a lot of these debates every single day with Trump supporters, and I get it. I could put myself in the shoes of a Trump supporter, and I could understand the propaganda. Oh, he's a businessman. Oh, prices were lower under his first administration. Oh, he'll be so good for the economy. I could understand the mental process of undergoing a correlation causation fallacy plus over $1 billion in propaganda paid for by the RNC over the course of the last 4 years to blame it all on the blue, right? I get it. But what I don't get is your arguments now. Dude, it takes 3 fucking brain cells to recognize that Donald Trump is very bad for global tensions. All that you have to be able to recognize is that, the clip where a reporter asks him if he could confirm to the American people that he won't use our military to invade Greenland, and he was like, we might do it. Oh my God, that's so fucking scary. Even if he doesn't mean it, that's still fear-mongering. That is even still yet worse for global tensions. Him launching economic wars on our allies like Canada, like Mexico, violating the USMCA, imposing blanket tariffs on all imports from the EU. So bad for our relations with European countries, not to mention the fact that individuals in his admin, like Elon Musk, straight up went on Twitter and were like, we need to pull out of the UN. We need to pull out of NATO. We've already pulled out of the UN Human Rights Council. That isolates us from those leaders more. And then when they're bowing the fucking knee to Putin, telling you, the leader of Ukraine, to say thank you for a 31st time after leaving his boots from the ground in Ukraine, watching his friends and family fucking die at the hand of Russian soldiers. That's obviously very bad for global tensions as well. It doesn't take much to just come to the recognition that the God, your glory, your savior in flesh, Donald J. Trump, is not good at global relations with countries that matter. I mean, come on. Make that admission. It is so important.
Trump is so unbelievably prideful and arrogant that I think there is a limit that he would actually let America get to, in the sense that he is so unbelievably prideful. He wouldn't let America become a joke. He wouldn't want the worst. I would say it's not, but I wouldn't think that he would.
Macron and Donald Tusk literally made a joke out of Trump in America. Oh, remember when the entirety of the UN Council was laughing at Donald Trump on stage?
I do remember that.
It already is. It already is. Other countries are already laughing at us. But, those that aren't laughing, they're not laughing because they don't think that Donald Trump in America is a joke. They think that Donald Trump in America is fucking dangerous because of his insane character and policy.
It's insane, but I also think that because that people wouldn't want to mess with us. That when you saw Zelensky in the White House, there was a tiny, Zelensky obviously has had carnage in his country, and he was getting slightly emotional, and it came off as just a little bit. I mean, I'm pretty pro Ukraine, but it was coming off as a little bit ungrateful, just a little bit. And he freaked the hell out just over that. I'm thinking, what if someone actually did something actually insulting towards America other than just a little bit of ungratefulness?
Wait, so I want to clarify that a military that's funded $800 billion per year, more than double the amount that the following country, China, puts into their military, that's not what makes other countries not want to mess with us. It's instead the fact that we just have some insane dictator-esque authoritarian leading our country. That's what makes other countries not want to mess with us?
I would say it is a factual statement that other countries don't want to mess with us. The same way that we don't want to mess with. I know for some reason I keep finding myself going back to it, but the same reason why.
But it's not the $800 billion per year military, not at all.
I was going to say like North Korea. North Korea has less than triple digits in nuclear warheads.
Wait, didn't North Korea literally mess with Trump? They went into an agreement with him and then violated it less than 2 months later. Get fucked.
Yeah, but it never actually impacted our security. We never actually saw any.
That was objectively him messing with us. He said, "Oh yes, Donald Trump, please hop on a plane for 24 hours, come into my country, shake my hand. I'm going to sign this agreement, but then I'm going to violate it less than 2 months later." He was playing him like a fiddle. What can I say? Also, the leaked Kremlin documents from Putin, where he said that he thinks that Donald Trump is easy to manipulate, playing him like a fiddle. What can I say? They're messing with him, man.
You're right about the 2 months thing, or the how that only lasted for a few months. I'm going to look back on that because I really thought it lasted longer than that. But I just have one more question going away from foreign.
I have one last question about foreign policy. Could you give me,
Go for it.
I gave you 2 examples of other world leaders messing with Trump. Can you give me an example of a world leader really messing with Biden or Harris?
They stood out of everything. Donald Trump's a disruptor. He actually likes to go in and mess with things, and of course that would cause more controversy. I felt like
so more world leaders have messed with Trump than with Biden or Harris. Based, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah, but I would also say Trump also secured.
Let's go. And also, no, you cannot say that Biden and Harris stood out of everything because what you're implying there is that they're isolationists. No, Donald Trump is an isolationist. He literally has implemented protectionist policy like tariffs to sanction our allies to isolate our country to stay out of things. He wants to pull out of the UN to stay out of things. He wants to pull out of NATO to stay out of things. The only president that wants to quote unquote stay out of things, unless it's Israel, of course, is Donald J. Trump.
I think it's to create a certain sense of financial independency, which I think is a fair enough thing.
Oh, it's fair enough to want to harm and cripple our own economy by no longer focusing on the globalization of commerce and comparative advantage, but rather forcing our producers to make shit they're not good at making just for USA. Dude, get a grip, please.
Okay, can I? Okay,
I'm sorry, that was disrespectful and rude.
I heard everything you just said. Can I have my other point? That's
yeah. Make your point. I'm being disrespectful and mean. Take the mic.
Don't worry about it. The only other thing, and I'm not overly passionate about this because this is a rather new topic, but the whole idea of like the gold card and things like that. I'm curious your thoughts on how you can actually buy citizenship to other countries, and it's not people have. Granted, they're not enormous countries, but you can for Kuwait, a lot of Caribbean countries, Malta, St. Kitts and Nevis. It isn't a problem to pay for their citizenship. I'm curious, why is it a problem to pay for ours?
It's so fucking hypocritical that Trump's offering gold cards to Russian oligarchs. You want to know why?
Why?
Doesn't he place a really big levy of importance on securing American industries and national security in the way that he speaks?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, do you think that allowing Russian oligarchs worth billions related to the Kremlin in state-funded propaganda coming into America and gaining citizenship is good or bad for a country's security?
I'd say it's more of an economic choice to get those rich people to actually.
So you want Russian oligarchs to own big American companies?
I want rich people to own enriching companies in the U.S., no matter where they come from, because I'm not xenophobic. I don't care where they come from.
Okay,
if you have proper citizenship, you should be running successful. I'd rather a successful company. You're talking about like Russians.
Wait,
I'd rather.
How do you get rich in Russia? Do you think that it's just like free trade? You don't have to have any involvement with the Kremlin whatsoever?
Well, they have a small circle between China and.
There's a very small circle of oligarchs in Russia, and they have very close and tight-knitted relationships with the Kremlin. What is the Kremlin? A disaster, a humanitarian disaster. I don't think, and a lot of their companies also have state involvement as well. I mean, don't you call Russia fucking communist? Don't you call them socialists? So they have these big Russian companies that they made billions of dollars off with very close-knitted ties with the Kremlin, with state involvement in running their massive corporations, and you want those people to come over to America and own our companies. Okay, right? That is not a threat to national security in the slightest. But I will also say that it's an absolute slap in the face to the legal processes of migration for non-billionaires that Donald Trump, as well as Democrats, I'll be honest, have completely neglected for all of modern American history, outside of the bipartisan border bill that Biden and Harris tried to get done that Donald Trump shot down. Like, how come we're neglecting the legal processes of migration for everybody except for really rich Russian billionaires with ties to the Kremlin?
Well, I think there is an actual intention behind him doing it. I don't think it's all completely, shady business. It makes sense that if you're a rich person, I'd rather a Russian person, if they're going to be a billionaire anyway, let's say, I'd rather
cater to the interests of the billionaires, but nobody else. That's what Trump
I'd rather them be a billionaire paying billionaire high taxes in the U.S. than doing it in Russia.
Wait, so you think that rich people should pay more in taxes?
I do, yes.
Okay, so then obviously you don't support any of Donald Trump's economic policies since it only alleviates a tax burden on people making over $395,000 per year.
I'm much more, I definitely agree. I'm more left leaning in terms that rich people should pay higher taxes. But regardless, if they're running businesses, people are going to be billionaires anywhere. So if they're going to be paying someone's taxes, I'd rather them be at least contributing to ours. And it would, in turn, if executed properly, alleviate off of the poor people if they're paying their fair share.
Bro, dude, like so far they said that they've sold 1,000 gold cards. That's worth $1 billion right there, okay? Do you know how much Donald Trump spent on tax cuts for the top 1% in his last administration?
I know he had a $750 thing.
No, he spent $1 trillion on tax cuts for the top 1% in his last administration under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, significantly more this turn. So we're going to get a little bit more taxes from the new billionaires coming to America and maybe a couple $1 billion off of selling the gold cards. But that fails in comparison to the trillions of dollars that we'll be losing in government revenue by cutting the taxes on these same people.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Okay.
And
so it's like, so you're basically saying that you like it when rich people pay taxes. This is a way to get them to pay more taxes in America, but you're literally giving trillions and trillions of dollars to get a couple billion. That sounds like a very bad trade.
I see what you mean. What are your thoughts on like deportation? Like, for example, I studied in Ireland for college. I'm in the U.S. now, but I did actually have to gain temporary citizenship. And if I was there, I had to pay to get citizenship, but apparently it's all right if you do it over there. And I did. And if I lasted there longer than the allotted time I was given, they would have deported me. If they found me, that's how the EU does it. That's how. Now when you say
this was in Ireland?
Yeah, when you say you disagree with deporting, I forget, you said it earlier in the stream about if you're not doing anything illegal. Is it okay if other countries deport just because, they're given rules? You have to be here for a specific amount. At least that was my case. Hey. And if you don't, then you don't belong here. Is it only an American thing that they can't do, or is it like universal? Your thoughts on that?
Guess what I'd be doing right now if I was Irish?
I'd love to know what.
Advocating for reform in Ireland's immigration policy.
But it's a worldwide thing. If you're there longer than you're supposed to be, you will get deported or you'll have some sort of punitive measure.
Oh, well, I'm hoping you're not arguing that we should have the laws we do because other countries do too. Would you run that same argument when we tried to ban child marriage?
But the whole world does it, is my point.
Oh, well,
do you think this is like
shit, if every country outside of America had legal child marriage and we had a couple lawmakers being like, we need to ban that, would you say, well, but the whole world does it? No? Okay. We can't say merely because other countries do something, we should do it too. Also, the most patriotic, the most, my blood is red, white, and blue, and my pronouns are U, S, and A, principle of all time is that our country needs to be doing the best on the cutting edge of innovation to make the quality of life for Americans as good as possible and be light years ahead of every other country on earth. Wouldn't you want America to be apparently the first country in the world to usher in a new era of better immigration policy and reform to serve to the better interests of the country as well as the immigrants? Like if every other country on earth just has these terrible immigration policies where you get deported even if you don't commit a violent crime, well, I say we'd be the first to the jump to say that's wrong. It's bad for them. It's bad for us. And reform our policy and hope that the rest of the world follows. But by the way, I do want to point out, I don't think that your argument that every other country in the world deports nonviolent undocumented migrants is true.
I would love to, I don't want to say every single developed country, but my point being that this isn't just a Western civilization issue. I mean, you go to China, they'll deport you the same way they will in the U.S. Or not the same way, but they will. If you,
I've addressed this sufficiently. I don't feel like repeating myself. Just feel free to respond to what I've already said in response.
I'm curious. Do you find as more of a moral issue, like everyone should be given, no matter where you are in the world, if you're not causing harm, you should be guaranteed citizenship, or do you think this is an American specific? This is an American reform, and
we're talking about American policy because I'm an American advocating for change in our government. But like in a sentimental value sense, I'd hope that the rest of the world would do the same thing, of course, because I don't just fight for Americans. I fight for all of humanity. But my claim is nothing more than the fact that right now America should update their legislation and not deport undocumented migrants that have not committed violent crimes, and should rather offer them a pathway to residency and citizenship.
Wait, but what's the goal of getting citizenship if they're not going to be deported if they don't have citizenship?
I'm so sorry. Could you repeat that again in a way that I'll understand? What?
Sorry. You say that if they're undocumented, you don't think they should be deported.
Uh-huh.
So then what's the incentive to gain citizenship if you're not going to get deported either way?
Oh, sure. Because an undocumented migrant would want to be a citizen compared to a non-citizen, so they could have easier access to things such as a driver's license, an ID, an ability to fucking vote, and plenty of other things. Benefits, Social Security, to go into the military, get set up for life, like no interest loans, food, water, shelter, and housing, maybe some type of pension to have access to free healthcare for the rest of their life, Medicaid, food stamps. There's like a billion incentives to be a citizen compared to a non-citizen.
Okay. Well, thank you for responding. That's all I got for you. I appreciate the thorough responses.
Well, I appreciate you for the good questions. I'm not going to lie, you've been asking some good ones. Much smarter than the average guest. One question for you is, do you think that mass deportation is better than mass amnesty?
That's a great question. This isn't an exact answer to your question because I'm not too intelligent on the topic, but I was more pro the way Obama went about it, where he was able to successfully deport a large amount of people, but he wasn't ripping people away from their schools. I think if you are going to deport people, there's a way for it to be done, and I did like Obama's way, where he was still able to maintain citizenship.
Yeah, I just feel like that's not answering my question. Because I could agree that Obama's plan for deportation was much preferable to Trump's. I feel like anyone would agree. Well, I mean,
I think Trump's is too.
But I feel like the question I asked you is, do you agree with deporting undocumented migrants that have not committed violent crimes compared to offering them a pathway to residency or citizenship?
I hate to be like contentious, but I don't think I can answer because I don't want it to be so black and white. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right, no worries. Well, I mean, you've been up here for long enough, so I could move on to my next guest.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Enjoy your next guest. See you later.
Have a good one, Tiny Tim. Honestly, I kind of appreciate those guests that are a little bit more well researched and have like a level head that I could just have discussion with. I actually thought that was a good conversation. I appreciate that. That was good. That was good. Nikki, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much for the love, Nikki. Katie with the $5, Tamara with a 5, Jamie with a 10, and JA with a 10. JA says, Dean debate my boss, can't get through to him, tell him to request. And also Nick with the $10 as well. Carla with the 10. I got you earlier, guys. Thank you so much for the love. You guys are so incredibly kind. What is up, Brian? Did you vote for Trump?
I voted for neither candidate.
Okay. Bye, Brian.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I'm going to kick you now because you didn't vote for either candidate. Moving on to the next guest. Let's go and get Lucas up here. Tobias, thank you for the $6 over on Venmo. Lindsay with a 5, Wendy with a 5, and Echo with a 2. By the way, guys, we're only going to be live for around another 10 to 20 minutes. Then we got to hop off because I got to go down to a local campus. Everyone just going to give us a minute here. We're going to get the last debate up of the night. I don't want to end my stream at all. Chelsea, thank you for the $10 donation on Venmo. Everyone show some love to Chelsea. I don't want to end my stream at all. Oh my God. I can't believe that I'm being ripped away so early when I'm having so much fun. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Unfortunate. Gosh darn it, dude. Unfortunate. All right, let's go get Sharon up here. Everyone just give us a minute. Somebody in the chat says, God, the attitude. Narcissistic personality. Lauren, get up here. Let's have a conversation. Hey, Sharon.
It's Grandma TikTok to you.
It has been so long.
Well, I've been watching. Yeah, I just don't get on here because we're not never going to agree. But I think about you a whole lot. I really do, and I don't want to keep your live going because you'll say, "All right, Sharon, I got to go." They
Sharon.
banned me for doing nothing. I don't
Sharon.
know what I say to get myself in trouble. Maybe you can help me.
Sharon. It's in. I there. I.
You got my
I get
You got my
banned
real
for.
name now, Dean. That's my real name. You really got me this time.
I get banned for a whole lot of things that I don't know what I did
Well,
either.
I'm my granddaughter. She's one of the twins, and she came over here and she said, "Mama, you got to quit that." I said, "I'm not doing nothing," and so she has to come and put me back on. I said, Liv, honey, I don't care about anybody, but I like to watch Dean. We don't agree with nothing, but I like the fella. He's got a good spirit, and I like him.
Have I been able to convince you to change your mind on anything? Because you've been watching
No, really, I haven't. I was hoping I could change you, but we ain't never going to agree, probably. But that don't mean we can't be friends, right?
Oh, Sharon, I gotta say, you are the most pleasant Trump supporter that comes up on my live.
Well, I just want you to know I'm not going to keep you because I know you're debating today, and I don't like that. I could say stuff, but I ain't saying nothing because I really like you and I do respect you. You're doing what you believe.
Just know that there's still some time that you could change your mind.
I can't do it. I'm so hooked. I'm just, Dean, I can't help it. I love the Lord, and but you know what, Dean? I pray for you all the time, and I just wanted you to know that I love you, and you keep doing what you feel's right in your heart, and God's going to take care of you. But you know what? I believe down the road, God's got something for you besides this.
Well,
and you
Sharon,
need to play that piano. I love it when you're on it. You do good. That's a calling. You need to get on that piano.
Well, Sharon, I appreciate you so much for the compliments on my ability to play the piano, and I appreciate you for praying for me. I guess I'm going to go and move on to the next guest. Just keep in mind, there's still time that I could change your mind.
I came up accidentally because really I didn't know I was coming up till I seen my name there. So it was meant for me to say this stuff to you. You take that to heart, buddy. And I love you. You have a blessed day and you behave.
Yeah. All right, I'll behave, Sharon.
Okay.
I'll behave, Sharon. Have a good rest of your day, Sharon. Oh, Sharon. She's actually been watching these lives forever. Sharon used to come up every once in a while, and I just want to, we're going to give it a minute. We're going to give it a minute till Sharon swipes, and I want to share something with y'all. Andrew, thank you so much for the $20 donation over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Andrew. Andrew says stream donation. Thanks for speaking up. I appreciate you so much for the love, Andrew. Thank you so much. Everybody, please show some love to Andrew down below in the chat. That is an incredibly kind donation. Thank you so much. What is going on, Kramer? Did you vote for Trump?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You can hear me. You can hear me well, right?
Yeah, I sure can. Why'd you do it?
Two main reasons. Number one, the failure of the Biden administration to uphold deterrence internationally. And number two.
Isn't that just what the leaked messages from the Signal group chat said?
Oh, 100%. I'm not going to go ahead and apologize for the current administration as far as
Kramer,
that.
No way you're getting your arguments for Trump from the leaked confidential Signal group chat at the hand of one of his cabinet members.
I'm describing why I voted for him. No other comments on what is currently going on with that, because that's an abject failure, irresponsible. The staffers involved need to be fired. It's a miscarriage of justice that they haven't, but here we are.
God, make your argument.
You said earlier that there were no torts against the Biden-Harris administration during their tenure. I would count the Russian invasion.
Wait, repeat that?
You said earlier that there weren't really any actions taken to violate or object to American global dominance or security around the world during the Biden administration.
What the fuck? I never said that.
Okay.
No, we're talking about examples of other leaders messing with us and shit like that. And I just simply asked the guest if he could give me an example, and he couldn't. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I really felt that the Biden administration failed magnificently when it comes to how they dealt with Ukraine. I felt that we have sort of abandoned our responsibilities to our allies. I mean, I don't think I'm going to convince you or anything in regards to Israel.
Not supporting Ukraine would have been us abandoning our responsibilities. Like the Budapest Memorandum that we signed with Ukraine in the 90s. Said if they
Yes,
give up
that
their nukes, we'll
guarantees
defend
our
them.
security
Right,
for them in
but
exchange
like
for their nuclear
if we
weapons.
didn't support Ukraine, given the Russian invasion, that would have unironically been an example of us abandoning our responsibilities, which you seemingly depict as something negative.
No, my intention with voting with Trump, honestly, was that I felt that Biden didn't go nearly far enough. You could attribute that to senility, which is the other motivating factor in why I ended up voting red instead of blue. Because I was disgusted personally with how January 6th went down, the fact that he wasn't prosecuted.
The reason
but
that Biden didn't go far enough with support from Ukraine was because of Trump.
because of Trump and the Republican Party, he's the single unitary executive of the military.
Well, listen, insofar as what he could convince Congress to do or not to do with a lot of funding, humanitarian aid, guns, weapons, shipments, etc. I mean, it took appropriation bills through Congress, and the reason that Republicans stood in such vehement opposition to Ukraine was because of Trump. And what's happened since Trump got into office? I mean, exactly the same sentiments.
I would
that
go
we've seen
farther than you
reiterated
are
by
with that.
Trump. Wait, I mean,
I would go.
wait, if you want to stand behind Ukraine, obviously the Democrat Party was better than the Republican Party.
That doesn't mean that they went far enough.
Okay, that's fine, but they still went farther than the Republicans.
That doesn't absolve them from the responsibility or the fact that they created the circumstances that we now sit in.
However, we'd hold
This war could have been
Republicans-
far since over, but it hasn't.
However,
Yep, go
we
ahead.
hold Republicans to a significantly higher level of responsibility, but still hold the Democrats to some. So in a comparative analysis of the two parties and the two candidates, Kamala Harris was still going to come out on top. Like, you're saying that you despise Harris and the Democrats for not supporting Ukraine enough, therefore you voted for the party that didn't support them at all. You're either incredibly disingenuous or incredibly dumb.
No. My theory with that is that Donald Trump is a narcissistic animal. He only operates essentially on not policy, not ideology, just whatever anything is said or done to him at that given time. I understand that Putin is completely unwilling to negotiate. That's like very clearly true, given how the negotiations have played out, right?
Yeah, you voted for that.
Disagree? Yes, I did vote for that.
Why?
Because now what you're seeing is Donald Trump is going to make a pivot, hopefully, thankfully, to escalate aid to Ukraine and to reassert his ego and dominance over Russia. That's assuming, of course, that he isn't completely bought out by Russia, which is not a zero chance possibility event.
Dude, are you kidding me?
It's not just that.
No,
It's
listen, this is like saying, like, let's just say like 10 years before the Civil War started, that, all of these white plantation owners are going to make a pivot and every single one of them is going to be a human rights activist. And then all of a sudden the North is going to be in the wrong since they still support segregation.
Let me kick it back to you. What do you think Donald Trump's going to do if Putin refuses to negotiate through the next 6 months and continues combat operations for the next year, which has already been confirmed? They can't unmove the equipment they've moved to the front. Russia has no intention of stopping.
Yeah, great question. I have no clue. Probably nothing.
You don't think anything will happen?
Yeah, I think that he'll just say, not our problem. We're going to book it. Good luck.
But he's made it a central core issue of his entire candidacy
But the way
and
that
presidency.
yes, he has. But the way that he's framed that is, wait, thank you for admitting that, because you just made my argument stronger. Yes, Donald Trump has made not supporting Ukraine a central core issue of his campaign and presidency, so far to say that calling him a Russian shill is very kind, right? So obviously,
at this point, I would
he
agree
won't
with
just
that.
turn around on a dime and say, well, I'm sorry for saying that we shouldn't be supporting Ukraine. We've sent them enough money. We need to instead support our own people and Russia. So therefore, we're going to now start supporting Ukraine. No, the fall of that would be drastic because he'd be contradicting the messaging that he's shared since 2022, right? I think what is most likely to happen is he'll just pivot away from being engaged in the issue at all and rather use that as an opportunity to say that he's re-centering America, placing America first, and focusing on our issues. And if anything, I could even make an argument that he's strategically planned, at least his campaign is strategically planned for this outcome, because what is the big talking point of the Trump campaign? We've sent billions of dollars to Ukraine that instead we could spend on homeless veterans here. and how this frames the issue in a sense, where if, Russia doesn't play ball and they continue to advance on Ukraine and Trump's negotiation skills prove to be a losing matter, which they will, that provides him with the opportunity to refocus America and play ball with the issues here at home, or at least to say that he is, right?
Or he'll escalate aid because he feels slighted. I think that that assumes that it's his ideology that's driving him.
I'm going to go ahead and clock that as a conspiracy theory. Categorically, I identify that claim alongside the claim that Bush did in 9/11.
I mean, you can categorize it however you want. I mean, do you think that Donald Trump is primarily driven by ideology or ego?
Ego, absolutely.
And wouldn't a slap in the face or repeated slaps in the face eventually violate that ego?
Not if it would cost him the popular support of America.
But that assumes that MAGA is driven ideologically either. They are underlined. They worship the same ego that Trump has.
Yeah, you just cooked me. You're right. You just cooked me. You're right. But I still don't think that this gives you... Yeah, okay. I actually unironically just got cooked by the guest, and I'll admit that. Wow, good point. Great one. Good one.
You don't think MAGA will shamelessly repeat whatever Donald Trump says?
No.
You don't think that'll happen?
No, you're right. You are. I'm wrong. I'll admit it.
Okay, then I'll move on to the proper addressing of Iranian security threats then.
Okay, well, let's not just move on to Iran, because first I do want to just go ahead and fill in. However, you are right, and I was wrong. If Donald Trump came out in support of Ukraine tomorrow, MAGA would find some way to justify it. Good point. I still don't think he'll do it, because he will instead probably decide to take that opportunity to refocus America, since that's what he ran on and that's what he said he'd do, instead of supporting Ukraine. And I just find that to be a more probable outcome than more support for Ukraine, because he'd face some resistance, mostly from the Democrats and maybe some more good faith Trump supporters, for supporting Ukraine after he said he didn't. The evidence for this would be like his past support against H-1B visas and then coming out in support of them. He faced some pushback from conservatives on the internet and a lot of pushback from liberals, right? So obviously the route of least resistance to further stroke his ego would not be to turn around and support Ukraine, but to turn around and refocus his efforts on America.
I mean, I simply disagree with you there. I mean, I think that the pressure of the situation escalating is only naturally going to progress. And Donald Trump's pathway to removing himself from that pressure is too financially costly to justify.
But see how we're discussing baseless hypothesis to determine if Donald Trump would or wouldn't support Ukraine? I'm so sorry. Was this statement Kamala Harris would have supported Ukraine a baseless hypothesis?
No.
No. So why do you want to go with a candidate that may support Ukraine predicated on a baseless hypothesis compared to the candidate that told you she would support Ukraine?
Because their policy had no reasonable ability to give Ukraine an avenue to win. It only protracted the conflict.
Would you agree that it gave Ukraine more of an avenue to win compared to Trump's?
Yes, but not enough to win the conflict, which is their responsibility as policymakers to achieve.
Wait, whoa. Would giving every citizen $1,000 give them an avenue to be a millionaire?
No.
Would giving every citizen $1,000 give them more of an avenue to be a millionaire than giving them nothing?
Correct, but that's only technically true.
So if we had two candidates, one that wanted to give everyone $1,000 compared to one that wanted to give everyone nothing, and you value an avenue for everyone to become a millionaire, you're obviously going to vote for the candidate that wants to give everyone $1,000, right?
Not in this circumstance, no, because
I felt in that circumstance, but you won't hear because of brain rot. Because those two situations are analogous in the sense. I'm literally just describing the basic principle to you that you should vote for the party that clocks slightly better in a comparative advantage in the context of the issues that you care about. I agree.
Well, I don't feel that
administration and America as a whole hasn't been doing enough to support Ukraine. And I think a lot of that is just because it's a very pretentious bipartisan issue, because MAGA has said support for Ukraine is bad. But obviously, I will support the Democrats over the Republicans in context for overall support of Ukraine. And I don't know, man. I think you denying that is annoying. I think you denying that is disingenuous. And a waste of
No, I don't deny it. The Democratic Party has unequivocally been better on the issue of Ukraine. The only problem that I have with it, the glaring problem that drove me to change from the status quo, was that it wasn't generating any results.
Wait, you can't possibly qualify that. Sorry,
What do you
quantify
mean
that.
I can't possibly qualify that?
Wait, you
We forced them to
cannot-
launch a counteroffensive with no air cover, with
you
no
cannot,
F-16s to
you
cover
cannot
them.
possibly quantify that if the Biden-Harris administration passed no funding, guns, etc., for Ukraine, that they'd be in the same position they are today. That is a baseless claim.
That's not my claim.
Yes, you said that it produced no results. Producing no results mean if it didn't occur, they'd be where they are today in an identical position.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so
what
then
I'm
what are you
saying is it didn't produce.
So then it produced some results, right? Because if it produced some results, that would mean if you were to take it away and rewrite history in the sense that it never occurred in a hypothetical sense, that we'd be in a different position than we are today because it produced some results.
Dean, what do you perceive the threat of Russia invading Ukraine as, broadly speaking? Like, how does that threaten us directly? I'm not like I don't believe that it doesn't. It does. I just want to understand your understanding.
I could be a performative Pentagon investigator with geopolitical issues on the global scale and how they impact America for sure. I could give you my thoughts, but before we pivot, I want you to respond to me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, would you agree that Democrat support for Ukraine at least produced some results?
It produced some results. It didn't alleviate the crisis, which is the goal.
Would you agree that Republicans' lack of any and all support for Ukraine produced no results?
Correct.
So some results or no results? You tell me.
I made the decision to create a shift from the status quo because the status quo wasn't moving us any further to Ukraine winning.
Oh, wait, no, now you just contradicted yourself. You can't say that it produced some results towards the end goal of Ukraine having a pathway to win, but then it didn't move us any further. Some results is moving us a little bit further.
Do you understand like the basic principles of like American football?
Dude. Brother.
Some people don't follow sports. That's the only reason why I ask.
Sure. Would you rather have a bad QB or no QB?
No, that's not the analogy I'm trying to draw here. Would you rather have 3 first downs or a touchdown?
I'd rather have a touchdown.
You'd rather have a touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you go through 10 seasons, okay, where you have a team that consistently falls short by 1 or 2 games of the playoffs, what happens to that GM and coach?
You're going to have to ask that again.
If over the course of like 10 seasons, you have the same team that falls 1 or 2 games short of the playoffs, what happens to that coach and GM?
They'd get booted unless the only relevant alternative option is a coach and GM that you know with certainty wouldn't make it anywhere near the playoffs and would rank last in the league.
Okay. So why shouldn't I feel justified in trying to change the management position to see that if it can affect a greater outcome? By the way,
because I could tell you, because the only other coach and GM option would rank last in the league, producing no results.
Okay. Let's start with the important things in terms of European security.
Just one
do you think the Biden administration? Do you think the Biden administration?
One moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why does it take 15 minutes of discussion to come to the conclusion that something's better than nothing?
That's not the point I'm arguing.
Yeah, it certainly is. You agreed that
it's not the point that I'm arguing.
No results.
That's not my claim. I never said that.
Oh, wait. No, you're right. No, you're right. I am strawmanning you intentionally because I know that you told me that you think that Donald Trump will just randomly wake up one day and be fucking pro-Ukraine. You're right. Actually,
do you know how many tens of billions of dollars it would take to remove
I'm actually going to make that incredibly clear. Your argument was not that Donald Trump is going to continue to do nothing. Your argument is that he's going to randomly fucking wake up and be pro-Ukraine. Like, dude, come on, please. Please.
Okay. True or false? Russia intends to expand this war beyond Ukraine's borders.
Likely.
Okay. True or false? It's going to cost the U.S. Probably close to $50 billion to close all of our remaining bases in Europe and pull out of NATO. True or false?
No clue.
No, it would be a similar close down that happened.
I'll take your word for it. How about that?
He has a financial incentive to remain in Europe militarily. Putin has every incentive to keep this war going. We have already donated weapons that have resulted in the deaths of hundreds, if not thousands, of Russian servicemen. Completely justified, by the way. The bell has been rung. This conflict is happening.
Okay.
Donald Trump is going to be forced in this position.
Whoa. okay, we can't.
He's not
vote-
the only one who gets a vote here.
Wait, if Donald Trump would be forced in the position of being pro-Ukraine, then he wouldn't have won the presidency running on an anti-Ukraine ticket.
It doesn't matter what he runs as. He pivots on every single issue.
But you have to give me absolutely any reason to believe that he will pivot. This is unironically like saying that like Kamala Harris's campaign didn't do enough for Black Americans. Therefore, I'm gonna vote for Trump because one day he's randomly gonna wake up and decide that reparations are justified.
Do you think that the death of U.S. servicemen in Europe
No,
wouldn't,
respond to what I just
wouldn't
said.
motivate him?
What's like the difference between saying that Donald Trump is going to randomly wake up one day and think that reparations are a good thing and saying that Donald Trump is going to randomly wake up one day and say that supporting Ukraine is a good thing?
Because the South wasn't planning to invade the North, kill Northern soldiers, and force him in a position where he politically can't justify retaliation.
Wait, if Russia's invasion of Ukraine forced Donald Trump to be pro-Ukraine, as I said, he wouldn't have won the presidency on an anti-Ukraine ticket.
No.
It didn't force him to be pro-Ukraine at all.
I am positing
Because
that
you have to,
we both
wait, didn't you agree that like Donald Trump isn't really forced into doing anything because his base will just aid and abet to whatever he believes
he's forced
in?
into whatever protects his ego. And the death of U.S. servicemen harms his ego.
Well, you know what else? Well, absolutely no way. There's 63 service members that died under his administration. Name one he ever spoke on.
So you don't think that he killed Qasem Soleimani over the deaths of U.S. servicemen that he coordinated?
I'm just simply asking you to please please name one scenario.
You don't think that he made it a point of pride about Abbey Gate?
You're going to answer my question. Name a scenario where he spoke about dead service members under Donald Trump's administration the same way that he spoke on dead service members under Biden's administration. He doesn't give a fuck about service members. No way. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about what service members fight for. He doesn't care about what service members die for. Or else he wouldn't be fucking defunding the VA. Or else he wouldn't have tried to ingress upon the American democracy, rig the outcome of a presidential election, and launch the biggest internal attack on American civil rights and liberty since the Civil War when he tried to steal it from Biden in 2020. He doesn't care. Not at all. Quit the nonsense. Not to mention, he's a fucking draft dodger. Thank you for the person in the chat that brought that up. Based. All right. Anything else, man? Yo, Gradients with $5 over on YouTube Super Chat.
How long was I muted?
For like a minute. Gradients with $5 over on Super Chat said this dude's argument is basically that Trump is emotionally unstable, but somehow that's a good thing. Wild. Yeah, man. I don't know if like anybody's really taking your argument seriously. I know I'm sure not.
You don't have to. Okay.
Well, I mean, I feel like I've objectively rebutted it the best that anyone could, and it's just like you just don't care, and you just still believe it.
Well, you're settling entirely.
$10 over on YouTube Super Chat saying run for Congress, please. Maybe one day I could see running for Congress when I'm 25. I could see it.
That's not even okay. Forgetting Ukraine, which is a point of regret for my vote, okay, that I never got to say.
Okay, Kramer, I'm so sorry. We can only talk about like that because I gotta run.
Sorry. Okay, you don't want to talk about Iran, that's fine.
No, I got it in my life. I actually got
no, that's fine. You got things to do. You're a regular person.
Yeah, I gotta go to CMU.
No, yeah. What, you're ending it right now?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, have a good day.
As well, man. I'm going to thank a couple people for their donations real quick. Jeb, thank you for the $10 super chat over on YouTube saying lost a friend in 2018 in Somalia. Trump didn't care then. He doesn't care now. He never gives a shit. And I'm so sorry about you losing your friend, Jeb. That must be terrible. But thank you so much for the $10 donation. All right, you guys. For everybody watching, so I am like actually right now going to Colorado Mesa University. I'm actually going to kind of go over what we're going to be doing today with you guys before you all head off, so don't scroll just yet. Conrad, thank you for the motorcycle. So there's a white supremacist named Jared Taylor speaking for a club called WCCC, Western Culture Club or some shit like that. It's actually pretty fucked up, very terrible. He's a self-proclaimed white supremacist, and he's ran a white supremacist magazine since the 70s. And this club invited him to speak at the school. Crispy, thank you for the motorcycle. And then the president was like, oh, well, because of free speech, we have to ensure that this guy can speak at the school. But I personally disagree with him, which, by the way, I thought was a terrible response. I think that a responsible president would have just not allowed him to come to the school. It's not like they don't restrict any free speech on campus. He said, like, for instance, he said that the reason he wants to allow him to be able to express himself freely and have free speech is because he holds to this model where they, like, emulate constitutional rights on campus because they want to treat the campus as an environment where their students would be living in the real world. So they don't do that with everything. Like, for instance, campuses are gun-free zones. Does that mean that he's limiting individuals' expression of their Second Amendment? It does. So if he wants to limit individuals' expression of their Second Amendment, how come he's not okay with limiting the Jared Taylor, this white supremacist, 65 from halfway across the country, and his expression of his First Amendment right to tell people that they should hate black people? You know what I mean? And then even further yet, on top of that, it's not like this campus already doesn't limit individuals' First Amendment expression. You have to get a notarized stamp on any piece of paper with any wording on it that you hang up absolutely fucking anywhere. So they just kind of pick and choose when they want to allow individuals to have free speech and when they don't want individuals to have free speech. And apparently he chose to give the white supremacists free speech. Then on top of that, I learned that this isn't even going to be a public event with the white supremacists speaking. They're doing it in like a lecture hall in the university center where you have to have a ticket to go. And all the tickets are sold out. So I can't even go to his actual speech. I mean, I'm going to try to find a way in there. Hopefully, you know, there's like some friends or people that like know me and enjoy my content that kind of work in the ticketing office. Maybe I want to try to get one for me and my camera guy. But to say like, oh, well, we're going to let this white supremacist give a speech, but we're going to make sure it's behind closed doors for only people with tickets. Only people there are going to be like crazy people. I mean, I think that Turning Point actually tried to get a couple tickets. It's fucking crazy. You know, like I think that they should let me in there. You know, let this independent journalist, Dean Withers, go see what Jared Taylor's saying. You know what I mean? How about you let me into that room? That would be fun, right? But in response to this, there's a Unity Club on campus. I think it's literally called Unity Club. And they set up like this big field party, quote unquote, for anybody on campus to kind of come get some free food, enjoy different events, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of like the counter protest to the liberal students. It's like, okay, well, we're just going to enjoy and express unity and diversity as a counter protest against Jared Taylor, which I thought was great, by the way. Great idea. That's going to be a lot of fun. But kind of like what I'm worried about, because I'm going to go down there with a guy that's going to be carrying a camera around. I'm going to be on a mic. And I don't really know what my angle is going to be, if that makes any sense. You know, like maybe the angle will be just kind of documenting it, trying to get a video of Jared Taylor walking into the event. But I do really feel like it's going to be super safe, and 99% of the people there are going to be liberals that disavow Jared Taylor. I'm hoping, because we live in a very conservative county, that a couple like local conservatives will show up, because it's been in the local news cycle for like 2 months now. And I'll be able to find like off-campus anti-protesters that come to the event to be a Republican, to be, you know, in support of Jared Taylor, that I could talk to with a mic, maybe debate, etc. And that's going to kind of be the end goal, is I'm going to document it, and hopefully I'll be able to find at least a couple people that maybe support Jared Taylor and his right to be there, and maybe even the things that he has to say, to hop on camera, hop on the mic, and have a conversation, a debate with. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people in the chat saying like, be careful. I think it's going to be fine. I think I'll be fine. They're going to have a lot of cop presence there. And then once again, 99% of the people there are going to be liberals. Like, I don't see it turning into anything bad, because it's a pretty liberal campus, even though it's in the middle of a very conservative town. Will I stream it? I won't be streaming it. That would have been a good idea in retrospect though, but I will just have a cameraman. He's going to be filming me. And in fact, I even ordered a handheld mic off of the internet. I'll show it to you real quick. So I just slide my Rode mic in there, and then I put this cap on it. It's like a little handheld mic. I think it's pretty cool, you know, professional and whatnot. So that's what we're going to do. Somebody in the chat says 187 baby. In the chat says I'd smack it out of your hand. Oh my God, you need to be thrown in jail now for an incitement of violence. Oh my God, I can't stand these communists. Okay. All right, chat. Well, I'll be at CMU. If there is anybody in here that's from the area, from Grand Junction, CMU student, going to the Unity Fair, see you there. I actually do know there's a lot of people that watch my content that are from CMU, and kind of feel connected in a way because I'm from the same town they are. So it'll be awesome. But yeah, I'm literally going to go do that right now. For everybody on TikTok, I love you all. Peace and love, and goodbye. For everyone over on YouTube, you know I love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. Honestly, I may even see you tonight, because I might hop back on stream because I didn't stream for too long. I'd say that there's a pretty decent chance of a coast with Parker later. We'll just have to see. Peace and love, y'all. Take care.